This episode is sponsored.
Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow.
It's been a wonderful year. To many more,
Yay.
Prince Yuko, my streamer 333.
Thank you so much for 12 whole months, a whole year. Thank you so much, Star. Tier 3 2. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And hello, welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Hold on. I need the bomb. And I forgot. Anyway, hi. Hello. It's the bug stream. It's the bug stream. It's the bug stream. Lobsters are bugs. It is my official decree as Prince. Lobsters bug. If it's wiggly and crawly, it's a bug. Can you draw a special Yuku bug or she get back to her sleep? It's OT. I don't want to tell you not to work. But hello everyone, let me scroll up and say hello. Hello Esther, hello Fungamus, hello Editrix, hello Tiny Kitty, hello Kane, hello Curry, hello Tincture, hello Alexis.
Shaky bug, shaky bug, shaky bug, shaky bug, shaky.
Yeah. Hello little bro, hello Jade, hello Star, hello Kyoto, you know like you bug. Then you might not like this stream, unfortunately. But for those that don't know, this stream, the bug stream, was actually voted on by all of you. Well, maybe not all of you, but we did a thing for my fundraiser back in January where viewers submitted ideas for special streams, which could be anything. And it was stuff like, it was like feet stream, bug stream, driving stream, I think there was like probably cooking stream or something. And the winners of that, I mean, all the suggestions were put into a poll, and then the winners of the poll were, it was a tie between the bug stream and the truck driving stream. We haven't done the truck driving stream, but we can do the bug one.
Don't intentionally tie up the poll.
Don't intentionally tie up the poll. The poll is very important for scientific research. Hi GC, by the way, welcome, Meowdy. Meowdy, Star didn't vote. Star, you should have voted. Vote B. I voted already. Anyway, so the winner of the fundraiser special stream poll was looking at Coolbug's stream. And what does that mean? Chat, what does looking at cool bugs mean? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I have a few things we can do today. I figure we start off with like videos. If it's a tie, at least one should win. The website. I have your website, Aster, but we're gonna save it. We're gonna watch a few videos first to warm up. The website you sent me is kind of information dense. Just noticed you're not following me for some reason, probably because you came to your Discord from YouTube. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the follow. Thank you. It's all good. It happens. I know I do put my Discord link in all the YouTube videos and stuff. A lot of people are in the Discord from the ASMR. But thank you for the follow. Thank you. Death's Head Butterfly. Cool beetles. I want to see some cool beetles. If Moth wins, I won't draw you a special Yuku Moth. What does that mean? You won't? Well, you can't like change your votes on the poll. It's got another 4 minutes. Yeah, lots of people from the ASMR. The ASMR channel is still getting a lot of views despite me being not active on it anymore. But I do really appreciate it. It's nice to have you here. Bugs. So I have a few videos. I have a subreddit, which I'm not sure if I want to go through the subreddit. And then I have some tier lists. We'll do the tier list last. And then I have a big insect. It's not quite an encyclopedia, but it's like a list of bugs that Aster gave me. And I'll go around through that later. Kind of wondering if that account was dead or not. It's not dead. I posted a community post on it not too long ago. Hi QB, welcome. It is Yuku time, it is bug time. Bug from Clippings Dead Channel Sky. Huh. Using Microsoft Edge still, the memory consumption has been absolutely insane today for some reason. Could have to do with the 10 tabs investigating the deep details of enumerations and mapping systems in C++. Could be. Why are you using Microsoft Edge? We'll do a tier list later. The tier lists that I found weren't very thorough. They weren't very detailed. Like this was probably the best one I found. Doesn't have a lot of bugs. I honestly can't even like recognize half of these. We'll do that later. I wanted to watch this bees balls. Bee balls and math video. 90% of those are just beetles. Well, maybe it's biased. Maybe the person who made it really likes beetles. Check out our other animal tier list templates. Some of these are pretty cool though. Pretty cool bugs. Hi Pata! Welcome. Are we smashing passing the bugs from Bug's Life? I've never seen a Bug's Life, but I could do that if I found one. Welcome Pata! Hope you're having a bugtastic, spectacular day. Do you wish I was playing on my boss? The bees? I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, chat. Actually, do you think this is gonna be copyright? Well, we're on Twitch. I'm not doing it on YouTube, so it should be fine. Chat, bees are bugs, right?
And thusly are endowed with a brain suitable for
Look
their
at 'em.
smallness. Here it is, the brain of a bee.
The brain of a
Honestly, it looks fairly
bee.
large on the screen like that. But this Xbox controller, which is apparently what controls a bee, only has around 960,000
This
neurons
Xbox
in it.
control.
Compare that
Oh my
to the
god, no.
100 billion or so neurons in a human brain. You see that right there? No?
Billions.
Scale.
They're not smashing any bugs. I don't know. Look at that. Wiggler.
But they can remember
Why does it wiggle?
a flower a mile away. Not sure I
Turn the
could do
volume.
that.
It is turn
And they
up.
can learn which flowers have the good sauce. This bee right here, for example, learned that those yellow third-grade
Hi, Super
flowers
Fanbot.
had the better nectar to drink, while the blue ones had the better pollen to rub all over. It's the best day of that pipe cleaner's life. I know
Me
what
too.
you're
I
thinking.
wish I was a
Big
pipe
deal.
cleaner. I mean,
Learning
what?
to tell
It's
flowers
still
apart is
quiet.
like the main business of being a bee.
How's
Of course, they had
this?
to toss a couple 100,000 neurons at something important like that.
Bee.
But what about if things get a bit more
How to learn
complicated?
anatomy at one
See this
class.
puck?
You hated
Well, in the
everything
middle
about
of this
it.
puck, there's a divot with some sugar
Are they
juice
too
in it.
weird?
And bees, they love the sugar juice.
Bees.
Now, of course, if you put a cap over top that sugar juice, you get some bummed out bees. But if you take that cap and cover just a little bit of that food hole, and then each time the bee comes back, you cover it up a little bit more until it's totally covered, you get some bees that maybe complain on Yelp about the restaurant going to shit. But also bees that gradually figure out that you can push that cap
Moth
off the way.
wins.
And
Congratulations
once you
to
light
the
that fire, some of them
moth.
really get into the pushing. All right, Millie.
Congratulations,
You can stop now.
Moth.
Pretty clever, these bees. But if you train them on a different shaped cap, and then present them with both kinds of caps, they'll push the shape they were trained on first, regardless of which one is covering up the sugar hole. So they're learning, but they're
They're
not quite
tricking
getting the
the
full picture.
bees.
But pushing things out the way is pretty normal for a bee. Flowers like that of the black locust don't just give up the pollen.
Hi, didn't
They
you?
force it
Welcome,
open.
welcome.
So what about learning
Just
something
be
new that doesn't involve
yourself.
pushing? Here you
I
have some
wanna
flowers, I'm
be-
doing air quotes. They've got a hole in the middle with sugar in it, and the whole thing is under a clear cover. But there's a string attached that you can pull to get at it. Now you give this setup to a bunch of bumblebees and not much happens. A lot of buzzing around. I mean, might be because the flowers look like crap. Didn't even draw petals on them. I know.
Where
it's
did they
scientists
censor
didn't
that
have the balls to go
word?
to art school, but still. Anyway, you might find a rare bee, the 1 in 100 sort of thing, that can figure this thing out on the first go. But you know those kind of bees, getting drunk the night before the SATs sort of bees. But most of the rest of us, them, need a little help. But what you can do is train them by gradually pushing the flower under the cover, and that way they learn to pull on the string to get the juice. Not bad, right? And listen, once they learn it, they're champs at it. You
They're
wanna give
so
them a job.
smart.
But look at this. You take another
Hi,
bee
you
that doesn't know how to do
Hey,
it.
Dumbo.
Put that bee in a box and let it watch the
and then
trained
bury the
bee
bee
pull the
dated a
string.
woman,
Now
and then
let that
all
bee
the
out the
flowers
box, and you
died.
know what?
Then they
It
pollinated
friggin'
the
learned by
park again,
watching.
and the
Now the
flowers
trained
were
bee
back.
can still do some
Yay!
things that
I
this
think
one
the
can't.
bees should
But if
have
you
all the
add
flowers
extra
in the
string so
whole
the flower doesn't
world.
move right away, the trained bee keeps pulling until it works. The one who learned by watching just kind of gives up. So some things aren't getting across, but in this way they can teach
It was so
each other some
frustrating
very
because the
complex
teacher had made us
things.
guess everything, making
Here's
us
a
try
bee
to
trained
apply
to do a
logic in
two-step
reference to the
puzzle
human
where
body,
you
and then
only
kept
get the
saying all of you
reward
are
at the
wrong,
end.
and then reveal
And
how it
again,
actually
another
is, and it
bee
has
can
nothing to do
learn
with how
just
many
by
mammal,
watching. Looks
how
like
any
a bit
mammal
of an
works.
annoying student.
Obviously, we
Gets
don't know
right
anything
up in it. Oh,
anyway,
now he's
so
gone
my
for a
make
vape.
us guess for
All
so
right,
long
I'm
anyway.
back. Blue
I
thing, red
mean,
thing, got it.
teachers
What do you think?
can be
What
pretty
about
cringe and
balls?
dumb.
Listen, what you've heard is true. Bees love balls. Like
The
before I even show
balls.
you stuff about how smart they are, you should know that bees really love balls. If you make a clear path from a bee's nest to food, nothing in the way. But to get there, the bees have to walk past what is essentially a bee-sized Chuck E. Cheese ball pit. They stop and they play with those friggin' balls. Not for some reward or anything like that. They play
Bees
with
love balls, just
so
like
it's
me,
not
for real,
surprising
for
that you
real.
can train a bee to play one round of mini golf. And look at how they train them, with a little bee puppet on a stick. And when they put the ball in the middle, they get a sugar snack. And they
They get
eventually
a
get the hang
sugar
of it.
snack.
Look at this one. She throws it so hard she does a somersault. And she's like, come on, it hit the middle. Where's my sugar? Anyway, now you have the trained bee teach a
tried the
novice bee how to
Fallout
put the ball in a
76 grade
hole.
today.
But this
It
time
was
they have
hard.
3 balls.
It was
And the
so
2
hard I
closest
died,
ones are
and it
glued
hurt my
down.
pride
So
and
at least
Yay.
you use the
Then I
farthest one.
joined a random
Now
group
you let the
and I
novice
did
bee
it.
try it on its own. And you
Yay,
don't
good
glue down
job.
any of the
You got
balls.
further than I
And you know
did.
what? It
We
uses
played the
ball
raid
that was
once, then I
closest
quit
to
the game
middle,
forever,
the one that
actually. I
gets you
haven't
the
played
treat the
since I did
fastest,
that.
even though it was trained on a different
I don't
ball.
like hard
That's
stuff in
innovation.
games, so
Now,
like
this
it made me
allows knowledge to
upset.
spread through an
Since
entire
Fallout
colony.
76 is like my
Bees teaching
comfort
other
game, I'm like,
bees.
wow, they're
That's
making
what
my
this
comfort
shows,
game
how
into
that
this sweaty
string pulling
tryhard
skill from
game.
before went
So I
from
quit
A to
it.
B to B to B.
Maybe I'll go back
If
someday,
you like
though.
this show and you like to learn like
At least
the
it
bee
looked
do,
cool.
please go and check out Brilliant.org. Brilliant is
I
a
used to
free
play a
and
lot of
easy way to
76.
learn math, science, and computer science. They have been
I
a
wanna learn
long time
bee
sponsor of True Facts
science.
because I think they're great at teaching.
How long is
The
it?
course how
Super
to work.
long.
Oh, right. It makes sense that bees can share knowledge.
76.
I mean, bees are social
It's
butterflies.
gonna just end in-game
Meet the bees.
content, but I also don't
They
feel like
all live
returning to the
together and have to
game.
have some
Well, I'm like
complicated
level
roommate
600.
meetings, like
I
who's
should have
gonna
been
get
able
the
to do it, but I
groceries,
couldn't
or
beat the
in this
first
example, how to
boss.
choose the location of a new home. Now, out of 10,000 bees or so, only a couple hundred of them are the scouts. And the scouts go off and look for a good location.
Did the
Maybe a
scouts
nice
look for
hole.
balls?
Now, if they find something, they come back with directions. But they don't blab about it. They do it through interpretive dance. It's like if a mime had to give directions
The
to the
bee
porta potty at
shaker.
Coachella. Here's how it works. They do this sort of figure 8 thing, right? And when they go through the center, they shake their ass. This study packs in a bunch of info. It's like the Morse code of twerking. The direction
Why?
they use while they shake it corresponds to the direction of the location. Check it out. They're doing this
Why
on
are
a
they
vertical
talking about like
surface.
this?
The up direction means straight towards the sun. Down is away from the sun. So this direction here is like 5 o'clock away from the sun. Now the distance to the location is how long they shake it. It's roughly 1,000 meters for every second of shaking. Apparently they bought into the metric system. Bullshit. Now you might be thinking, how the hell do these bees know how far they flew? Well, at one
Yeah, how
point
do
they
they
thought
know?
the bees were measuring the energy that they used to get there. So they put tiny weights on the bees to see if it changed their estimates. And you know what? It mainly proved you shouldn't put weights on bees. Now there's a bunch of bees with muscular calves walking
What does
around.
that mean?
Another time, they put these tents up as landmarks on the way from a hive to a feeder. And then they changed the number of landmarks, which seemed to confuse some of the bees. So what now? Bees can count? Well, it seems they can, especially lower numbers. Here's one avoiding
Picking
4 and landing on
cup.
2.
Hi,
Here's one they
Rocky.
taught to
Welcome,
tell the difference
welcome.
between 11 and
Hope
12.
you're having a
You can
cozy
give them 2
day.
scenarios and train them to pick the larger one
Are
or
you
the
also
smaller
irrationally
one in this
irritated by the
scenario.
slightly
Look at
pinkish
it go
color
back
they
and
added
forth
to
just
the
to be
YouTube
sure.
bar for no reason? No,
Perfectionist
I
to
like
me.
it. It's
And if
very
you train it on
aesthetically
picking the
pleasing.
larger number, it won't
I like
just pick
it.
the one with more shapes. It'll also pick one with the same number of shapes, but
I
where
think
the
the YouTube
shapes
colors are
themselves
good.
bigger. It's like the concept of larger. And look at this. If you train them to pick the smaller thing, they recognize that nothing is smaller than something. I mean, that's the concept of 0. In this one, if the bee
Bees
sees yellow
understand
shapes,
0.
it's trained to go inside and look for the panel with 1 less than the number of shapes outside. Friggin' subtraction. If the color of the shapes is blue, the bee knows to add 1 to the number. I mean, they can do math.
They
You
can
probably
do
only knew about their
math.
spelling. Kill me. But discrete counting doesn't seem to be the thing that helps them judge distances. Instead, they seem to use something called optical flow, which is kind of like the rate that things go by in your visual field. And if you know that this is how bees measure things, you can kind of screw with them. You put them in a tunnel, for example, with stripes on the floor. As it passes over the stripes, it measures the distance and has an appropriate ass shaking. Now you do the same thing, except in this one, the stripes are moving. So as the bee flies, it thinks it's covering a hell of a lot more ground. And it tells its buddies about a location that's miles away. Meanwhile, you put a horizontal stripe and nothing changes while you fly over it. They don't know how far they went. And this explains, by the way, why bees will often drown if they fly over still water. You can see this effect by using a mirror,
Don't
too.
drown
The bee keeps getting closer to the ground to try and discern some movement. But all there is a reflection of a stationary bee. So you can see it keeps bonking into the ground. Anyway, in addition to distance and direction, there's one more thing that seems
The
to be
magenta in the bar is a
communicated in
problem with
this
your
dance.
monitor. At first,
The
I thought you were
bee's
told this on
estimate of
air.
how good
Oh,
the
it's
location
pretty.
is that it's found seems to be related to how often
I
it
like
does
it.
the dance in
It's
a row.
like
If it thinks it's found something
pretty
great, it just
color.
keeps going. And then there's
Right.
bees like this one that don't seem very enthused. It flew like 3 feet and found a shoe. Now, the reason for going on and on about a good location is because the bees eventually have to pick one
adores them
location
so much.
for
I
their
love
new
bees
home.
too. Look
So
at
these
'em.
dances aren't just about the directions.
learn
It's
to
about
dance like a
marketing.
bee.
If you found a good location, you try and convince other scouts to check it out, and then dance like you do until there's enough to make the decision. And listen, since you've stayed around this long, I'll tell you one other thing. All of this communication
silly
about distance and
salmon.
location and quality
Oh, my
mainly happen
Aggies.
inside a hive, in the dark. Mic drop. A tiny little bee mic drop. You think the bee likes the honey?
Honey.
No, 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 bees. No, no. Can't tempt a bee with your money. No, 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 bees.
Bees are pretty cool as far as bugs go. Bees. Here we go much more of
This
this
episode is
person.
sponsored by Brilliant. Learn to think.
Can learn about moths, the winner of the
Adult
rigged
form of
poll.
insects in the order Lepidoptera, the butterflies
Hey,
and the
bees,
moths
what
are
about
some of the
moths?
most beautiful insects in the world.
We
But
never
come on,
learned why
they're
bees love
ridiculous.
balls, because they're
Just look at
fun
them.
to play
get to
with.
this point, they've had to go through a baby phase as a sort of above-ground, slow-moving worm thing. And then
Moths
they
are
just
scary.
hang out for a
Moths
couple
are
weeks
beautiful.
In a sleeping bag
Moths?
dingleberry.
Look,
they had
it's a
plenty of time
sleeping
to
bag.
plan, and this is what they turn
Hiya.
into. I mean, it's not like
Bug
being
porn
in nature's a walk
day.
in the park. Well, I guess
Happy
it is.
bug
but
porn
my
day.
point is, it's dangerous out there for a butterfly. Jerry, that's a fish. Oh, dang. That bird's a dick. My point is, everything's trying to eat you, and that's the body you're working with? Come on, it's like being in the middle of a battlefield and someone's dancing around in a kimono. Just look at the way they fly. It's like a drunk person trying to find the bathroom in an IKEA. But don't fall for it. It's a ruse. Lepidopterans are the perfect killing machines. Jerry, that's not true. Well, I don't care if you saw it on Reddit. We talked about this. Do your job, Jerry. Anyway, butterflies
job,
and
Jerry.
moths have 2 pairs of wings, one in front and one in back. These wings, in comparison to their bodies, are much larger and broader than those of other flying animals. Now, being lightweight with huge flappers means that they can take advantage of some of the fluid
Flappers.
properties of air. First off, they don't flap that often, around 10 times a second. Compare that to the 200 times a second of a bee, for example. With each stroke, the edges of their wings create swirls of air that resembles smoke rings. On the downstroke, these vortex rings move down and away from the body, which results in vertical lift. But on the upstroke, the rings move away more horizontally, which causes the butterfly to move forward. So as the butterfly flies, it leaves behind a trail of these vortex rings as it alternates between lift and propulsion. But there's an additional trick going on here. These wings are razor sharp and people get killed to death? Really, Jerry? Just stop it. These wings are quite floppy. And if you're paying attention,
The
you
butterfly
will see it on the
strokes.
upstroke. The wings bend in a way that causes the front edges to come together first. This seal creates a pocket of air that's squeezed out like a fart from under a duvet as the rest of the wings close on each other. And that air bubble is shot right out through the center of a vortex ring. Just like
Air
that fart was
poop.
initially shot up. No. And this creates even more forward propulsion. Now when they fly backwards, they change the angle of their body so the upstroke creates lift and the downstroke moves them horizontal. So when you see butterflies flip-flapping all over the place like the flying equivalent of a mosh pit, they're doing that on purpose. They can fly in a freaking straight line if they want to. No, they do that crazy flying shtick to f with the birds that want to eat them. It's a defensive strategy. Float like a butterfly, it stings when I pee sort of thing. You know how some butterflies are toxic to birds, right? Not my personal favorite form of defense, by the way. Yeah, that's right. I taste like crap. Eat me, bird. Oh, shit, you are. Here, for example, is a blue jay puking right after eating a monarch.
No.
Showed him. Anyway, the poisonous ones often have brightly colored wings, so at least the birds can learn to stay away after a couple bouts of food poisoning. These toxic ones also tend to fly slower and straighter. It's like another signal to the birds not to f with them. Now, non-toxic, delicious butterflies will often mimic the colors and patterns of toxic butterflies to get some of that protection. And some of these mimicking butterflies are polymorphic, which means they can come in a number of different forms.
Thank you for 20
Sometimes each
months.
one of those forms mimics a
Almost
different
2
toxic
whole
butterfly.
years.
But it goes
Welcome,
beyond that.
welcome.
Females
Happy
of the
birthday.
species Papiliopolitus come in a few different forms. This one, the top one, its mating,
It's
mimics
so
a toxic
doggy.
butterfly, while this form mimics a non-toxic male. Here's the kicker. When it mimics the toxic butterfly, it doesn't just mimic its colors, it mimics how it flies, flying slower and straighter. And that's the thing. These beautiful insects are bullshit artists. And it all comes back to those wings.
What does that
They look like they're made from
mean?
tissue paper that got wet over top of
How
China's
does the
marker
butterfly learn to
drawing.
mimic a
That's more
poisonous
bull-
one?
they're
How's it
incredibly
possible?
sophisticated. Don't get me
They
started.
look,
Well,
they
yes,
look
I
at
do.
him and they're like,
The whole thing kicks off in the sleeping bag thing. First, the basic shape of the wing is formed by these two membranes that sandwich together around veins. The veins both add some structure, but also carry the butterfly's version
Okay,
of
go.
blood,
Wish you a very fun
butter
stream and
blood.
leave because
Once
you're right
that's
now
on its
locked
way,
into making
series
a
of
banger
overlapping
song.
scales begin to form
Can't
on
believe
the
you're
outside
locking energy that
surface.
comes ever so
And each one
rarely.
of those scales
So I
is
see you are,
anchored
so
into its own
okay.
little socket.
Thanks for
As
coming
these
by,
scales
Tincture.
form,
I
you can
hope
see
you
colors
have
begin
a
to
lot of fun.
emerge,
I wish you good luck
transforming
with
them
your
into the
banger
scary clowns of the
song.
insect world. Jenny, you're afraid of butterflies.
Meow.
They're not dangerous. No, clowns are.
I
mean,
hope the
butterflies
bees
are.
can
You see
shake
that it's
to
not
your
just one
song.
pattern
I
that
know they
forms,
will.
but rather a series of patterns that overlay one another. Some of these colors, like these browns and blacks, are made from pigments like melanin, which we have in our skin. Pigments work by absorbing certain wavelengths of light and reflecting others. Your bright blue t-shirt absorbs all the wavelengths except the bluish ones, which are reflected back to your eyes. The scales of the butterfly can have some pigments in them, but so can the membranes underneath them. Here is Cyproetta stellennis. On the right, all of its scales have been
Natural
removed
mimicry
from
is
the wing.
absolutely wild.
The
Like,
remaining
what do you
green
mean
is
this one
formed from a
specific
liquid
bag of
pigment in the
silk? Exactly
membrane
like one
that can
specific
stain a
type of
piece of
flower?
paper if you touch it. But this is a bit unusual. Many of the brightest and most impressive colors on butterfly wings
The
don't
blue
come from
one.
pigments or anything that would stain
The
a piece of
eyeball
paper
one.
that touched them. Instead, the colors are made from the architecture of the scales themselves. If you zoom in, you can see that scales are made of these ridges. And the ridges can come in a number of different three-dimensional shapes. In some, there's a place for little pockets of pigment to hang out, but in others, there's no pigment at all. Instead, there are these structures called lamellae, which are just the right size and shape to take advantage of some of the strange properties of light. As light hits one of these, a certain amount is reflected back off the surface.
They look like
and sunlight just passes
electric
right through.
poles,
But depending
electric
on
power
how thick these are,
lines.
some wavelengths are reflected off the back surface. Now, these two sources of reflected light interact with each other, sometimes canceling each other out, but sometimes
could,
amplifying each other to
Elizabeth,
create
you
an
would be a
intense
stink
color.
bag.
Whatever
No.
light passed on through often hits
I would
another
be a
one of these
beautiful,
lamellae, and
amazing,
then another,
cool bug, like a
reflecting back
praying
even more of a
mantis.
certain wavelength. That's how this blue morpho,
And
for
I'll
example,
bite your
gets such
head
a
off.
vivid blue. If you change the angle that the light hits these structures, the wavelengths interfere with each other differently. And that's why
The ones
some
that didn't mimic it
butterflies
right all
shimmer
died
and
off
appear
because they couldn't
iridescent
blend
as
in
they
well
move.
enough over
This is different
generations
from
and
pigments, which
tens to
reflect the
millions of
same
years of
wavelengths,
natural
regardless of
selection.
which way
All
you
the
look
top
at them.
leaderboard
Oh,
bugs
look,
kept
that one's laying
optimizing the
nebbies.
meta.
But often these
Well, the losers
butterfly
all died
colors are the
off.
combination of
True.
both pigments and the structural colors made by
The
the
meta.
lamellae. That
It's
blue
very
morpho from
competitive
before
in the
has a
bug
layer of
world.
black pigment underneath, which absorbs the light that passed through and wasn't reflected. But there's another species of morpho that has the reflective scales but not the black pigment, and the wings appear this bluish opal white.
And
If you
they're
want to
so
learn more about the
pretty.
physics of how butterfly wings get their color, or the computer science behind things like
The
artificial
pigmentous
intelligence, or
cannibalize
even
their
how a toilet
meats.
works,
Yeah.
well, Brilliant.org is a free and easy way to learn about math, science, and computer science.
It's even weirder when
I've
it's
been
the
looking
other
at
way
the course on
around.
how LLMs or large language models work.
What,
It
like
shows you
the
the building
birds?
blocks behind how artificial intelligence can
The
generate text
birds
from
that
prompts.
eat the
Like, give me a
bugs that are
40-word book review of
disguised.
Moby Dick as read by Cookie Monster. You learn about some of the core
Stop giving
concepts
me
like
an ad.
tokenization. Where are we? Possible. Try Brilliant today.
I don't know.
Oh, right. Now, if you've got the ability to do all that with
The
color, you know
ability.
you're going to get creative. These tiny little patches of cells sometimes form on the wing, and they release proteins that
girlfriend,
cause the
it
surrounding
works on your
scales to
ball.
create different sorts of pigments. This is how butterfly eye spots are formed. And I get it. You turn a corner and see one of these, you might shit your pants. This one, not so much, more of a sad vibe. And then come on, I mean, this one's just adorable. I don't want to run away, I want to get closer to it. And then, of course, there's too much of a good thing. But why stop at just eyes? I mean, you could tattoo snake heads on your shoulders.
Snake
Who's gonna f with you
heads.
then? Now, if you're not feeling flamboyant, you can take a more subtle approach and blend into the background. Or be see-through. Sort of. I mean, come on, that looks just like a dead leaf. Standing upright on a living leaf. Shh. But if a predator sees through your little disguise, you're not fucked yet. Some butterflies and moths that are drab or camouflaged have bright colors on the insides of their wings. So if they get found out, they can buy some time with a little razzle-dazzle. And that works.
Razzle.
The science hippies know because they with the chickens. Chicken thinks it's in for a nice meal and then nope. Reacts like a sane person would if they picked out a black licorice jelly bean. If you're one of those weirdos that likes them, I don't want to hear it. It's an abomination. Now, if all of this doesn't work and you're about to get a bite taken out of you, you still have some control over what part gets bit. Those long things on the back wings of the swallowtail, for example, seem to be effective at drawing an attack. And in fact, the veins on those back segments are weaker to allow for a piece to rip off a bit more easily. And that's not a bad result. Butterflies and moths can often fly just fine, missing a back wing or two. The back wings,
They're
it turns
so
out, help more in
cool.
dodging and weaving than they do with the actual flying. And that's why some of them look a bit ridden
Like
hard
cookie
and
bugs
put
can
away
actively
wet
choose to
and
breed with
bring
other
that phrase
bugs
back.
with
Now,
desirable
moths
traits.
that are
What
active at
about
night
flowers that look
sometimes
like
have these
animals?
really long
They just
tails.
spread their
In the
pollen
dark,
around
they
and just
can't
happen to
really
lean
use
up
colors
looking
and
like that.
patterns to the same defensive
flowers
effect
can
because the
think
bats that
and-
hunt them use sound
and
instead
they're
of
like,
vision to hunt. Sure. Having a
At some
really
point, I
long
agree that
tail can
machine learning
confuse
is
the hell
probably
out of a
quite
bat,
like simple
or at least get it to do
nature
minimal
neural
damage.
networks.
But when you're getting
Just takes
hunted by
lots and
something
lots
that
of
uses
time.
sound, there's other tricks you can use to confuse the hunter.
Bug
Some
brains,
moths
then we
have
applied to
scales that
text
can
everyone
absorb sound,
and the
making them
promoter is
invisible
attack
or
and decides
inaudible. I don't
nay.
know. But another way to
Yeah,
kill is
I'm
make
a
more sound.
bee bug
Most moths have
girlfriend.
exceptional hearing and can sense
Black
when a bat
licorice
is
jelly
closing
bean.
in. And
No.
some use special structures that can create clicking sounds to jam the bat's sonar. Sometimes that involves scales on the moth's abdomen, or in this case, the genital valve. You can try this at home. Now, there's a species of moth that lost its ability to hear, so it can't hear the bats coming. You know what it does? It uses part of its wing beak to make a sound, so it can make bat-confusing noise all the time. And so the bats try to catch things that don't exist. And that is how the leopard duck
Bat
drones
pranks.
do. Haven't done that for a while, have we, Jerry? Oh, and also, it's not floats like a butterfly, it stings when I pee, Jerry. It's a bee. No, the bee isn't peeing,
bee.
Jerry. It's stinging. Do you understand? No, the bee isn't the reason it stings.
bee.
What do you mean, how did it get up there? No one's peeing, Jerry. Well, of course it would hurt you. That's
No
beside the point. And that's what
Hey, smart people.
Hello.
Joe here. Here's what your preschool
Bold of
teacher
you to
probably
assume.
taught you about how butterflies are made. Cute little
Source of
caterpillar
random
just
variation
eats
waited
and
for
eats
successful
and eats,
variations
gets
become
all
more widespread.
fat, and then it eats some more.
The
And then it builds
positive
itself a
reinforcement.
sleeping bag. It crawls in and something
Trillions
happens.
of species have
and
existed on
voila,
this
a
rock for
butterfly
like
pops out.
3.5 billion
Well, I'm
years.
here to tell you that it's a lie. In fact,
It's likely
no
someone
book
happened
has
to link
done
up and
more
improve
to
on their
mislead the
incidental
world's young people
symbiosis when it
about
actually
the
works out.
biological marvel known as
Boys?
metamorphosis than this one.
I'm taking.
That might be a little bit extreme.
I was
What
scared.
actually happens when a caterpillar morphs into a winged, marvelous adult is so flippin' cool. Some of nature's most remarkable biological processes. And all of that mind-blowing stuff happens in this part that the book just skips over. The transformation is less very hungry caterpillar and more gremlins.
Gremlins?
Unlike humans, who come out of the
Baby
womb looking like
gremlins.
little squishy versions of our adult selves, caterpillars transform their entire bodies into something completely different, with entirely new body parts.
Symbiosis.
They basically live one life, but as two completely
4.1
different
billion
animals.
years.
Today, I'm gonna unlock the
I was
secrets
there.
of what actually happens inside this little sack of magic. All with the goal of answering one question. Why do butterflies and other insects actually do
Yeah, I
this
was
metamorphosis
there.
thing? What's it really for?
I was the one
So
that told the
forget everything you
butterflies.
thought you knew about how a caterpillar to
secrets.
butterfly pipeline works. It turns out the truth is
I went
so
to pick
much
up caterpillars who were stuck on the road and move them to the other side. Aw, that's nice of you.
When I was a kid in elementary
I've seen
school,
some pretty
we
weird
raised
caterpillars
butterflies
around
in
where I
science
live,
class.
like big
Maybe
ones.
you did it too. And
Green
maybe
ones.
you're like some people and you did it again as an adult.
Look at this bug. He
It's
doesn't
me.
know. What
Hi,
don't I know?
I'm some people. It's me. Still play
That's
with
a-
caterpillars, but I digress.
that's
Back then, you probably
not
watched
a
a
bug.
squirming little caterpillar wrap itself up
You're a
in
bug.
whatever this is. Then a whole
That's a
different flipping thing
flower.
comes out, complete with wings and
I am a
legs.
smart
How'd that happen?
cat.
If we want to uncover the real truth
Don't
about
be a hater with the
metamorphosis,
butterfly
there's no
pre-evolution
better
is
place
kind
to
of better.
start
More
than with
mass
Tim.
to grab.
Tim's in charge of the
What do you
thousands
mean by
of butterflies
mass?
of the California Academy of Sciences Butterfly Rainforest Exhibit.
The process of metamorphosis for a butterfly is pretty fascinating, and they grow through 4 different stages: egg first, and then a larval stage where they're feeding on the foliage, and then they really go through what some
The
people call that black
pupa.
box
More
period.
cushion.
They
What are you
are
doing beating on
pupating
the
into a
bug?
chrysalis, and that's where a lot of changes really happen before they enter the adult stage as an adult butterfly.
This process, where an animal completely changes from one form into another, is
I
called
wanna be a
holometabolism.
butterfly.
Going through this type of complete metamorphosis is surprisingly common. About 8 in 10 insects, including beetles, flies, bees, and ants, live and grow this way. Butterflies just get all the
I grab your
attention
bug and
because
rough it up every once
this
in a while. They love it.
much
You
too
love
ridiculous.
it.
But those groups of insects are vast and numerous, which means that about 60%
Who is even
of
shaking
all
the
Earth's
bug?
animal species use holometabolism
Bug shaky.
and live different phases of life as completely different forms, which means this real-life Pokemon evolution
is that
must be a pretty
Pokemon?
useful way to live. Like Pokemon, magic starts with an egg.
So,
True.
a mommy and daddy butterfly meet. Like, what happens
So butterflies will mate end to end, so you might see
Oh,
their abdomens connected.
the bug
but that
porn,
is
it's
what it looks like when
uncensored.
butterflies are copulating.
Oh my goodness,
And the
close
male
your
will
eyes, chat.
transfer a spermatophore to the female, essentially a packet of sperm. She'll hold on to that.
So, she's holding on to sperm.
I think 17
and
would allow
when
that.
she
I
lays
mean,
that egg,
the Kirby
does
note's
the
really
fertilization
bad.
not
And
happen
cute
until,
cunt.
like,
What's
the
cute
moment she's about
cunt?
to lay the egg?
He's a
Pretty
stupid
much,
CSGO
yeah,
streamer. Uh-oh.
The caterpillar doesn't really start forming or developing until that egg is laid, and then
Like
the clock really
egg.
starts ticking.
Most female butterflies
Lay
lay eggs
egg.
on very specific host plants, since
You're a
nearly
pretty little
all
baby, like you
caterpillars eat
could.
plant
You
matter.
could
I
be.
said nearly
I
all
believe in
because
your
a few have been known to
metamorphosis.
dabble in the occasional side of cannibalism. Yeah, Carl didn't mention that part, did he? Anyway, female butterflies choose the ideal leafy nurseries based on leaf color, plant shape, or by tasting leaves with their legs. Can you
Yum.
imagine a human mom choosing a baby crib at Target that way? The things we call caterpillars are butterfly larvae, the second stage of this strange life.
They allowed an
But
eggplant
all
shaped like a
caterpillars
fat
come
knotted
out of the
cock
egg
and didn't
equipped
even
with all
enlist
the
it.
genetic
I see, I think it's
programming,
probably-
cellular building blocks that they'll need to morph
Eggplants
into
are
butterflies
different.
later. These building blocks come in the form of imaginal discs. Basically,
Hi, North
little
Pants.
seeds made of cells that'll
Welcome,
eventually
welcome.
grow
We're
into
having a
adult
cozy
butterfly
day.
parts, like
Happy
antenna,
birthday.
eyes, and wings. But that happens later. Right now, caterpillars are basically stomachs with mouths on a mission to get chonky.
Their primary goal
Okay.
as a larva is to
Do I
consume
own
and
bug
acquire
cat
as
kitty
many
drill in my
calories as
chat?
they can to really fuel their
Not
process
yet.
of metamorphosis.
During this
Not
chowdown
yet.
phase of life, caterpillars can grow up to
Maybe in a
100
week or
times
two
their
when
original
people
size.
forget about
For
it,
example,
you can
monarch
bring it
butterfly
on.
caterpillars can fit on a pencil eraser when they
Visiting your
hatch, but in a
grandparents. Oh,
matter
heck
of
yeah.
weeks,
Hope
they
it's
get more than 5
cozy.
times longer and nearly 1,000 times heavier, sometimes eating more than 100 leaves a day. But
100
caterpillars are
leaves
doing
a
more than
day?
eating and pooping during this life
Whoa.
stage. They're starting the next stage of their metamorphosis now.
Hi,
As caterpillars
Dover.
grow, they
Happy
shed their
bug
skin
day.
or molt multiple times. Each time they look
It's
just a little different
molting.
on the outside and
I'll
on the
never
inside.
see it coming.
And this
Caterpillar.
is where we bust the
Hi,
biggest
hi.
butterfly
Hope it's
myth
going
of
well.
all.
I feel like when I was a kid, I was just taught that, they just like liquefy their body and then a butterfly magically emerges
Liquefy
from
their
that
body.
soup or whatever.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a tale as old as time.
Look, if you think
I feel
about
like
it
you're
even for like 5 seconds,
maxing.
bug soup
You're pretty
turning into a
max-
butterfly isn't even
maxing.
biologically realistic. I mean, how would that actually work? But this gooey myth overlooks what I think is the
Show me the
absolute
goo.
coolest fact about metamorphosis. A while back when I visited butterfly researcher Arno Martin, he made a small incision in the side of a caterpillar and pulled out this.
That's a larval wing. That's a baby wing. Here we go.
The
It's
future
in there.
adult wing of the butterfly already growing inside the caterpillar.
Can I put the Yuku
As they
worm
grow,
on the screen?
caterpillars develop wing
The
buds,
Yuku worm?
like
Oh my gosh,
internal
it's old.
proto-wings,
Do I have
that one
that?
day grow into the full-size thing. These proto-wings, along with many other
Yuku worm.
proto-organs like eyes and reproductive business, are already partially there in the larva. They're just waiting for one special signal that tells them when to grow. Once caterpillars finish their
Yuku
second to last molt
worm.
before chrysallification, their bodies release a big dose of a growth hormone that tells them to stop
Mean
eating
this
and look
one?
for a good place to hang out, literally, for a few weeks. This stage is basically butterfly puberty, and it's pretty awkward for them too.
This one.
Once
Hi,
the caterpillar
yeah.
finds the perfect spot,
Yeah,
it secretes a little dab of
Hello,
silk.
welcome.
Yeah,
Hope you're having a
spiders aren't the
wonderful
only ones who
day.
make that stuff, and it hangs itself from it.
So at that stage, instead of having a new
Cuckoo
skin
bird.
underneath it that looks like a caterpillar, the next skin is really the cuticle made of chitin of that chrysalis stage. And it's a
Chrysalis.
really cool transition because you can see
The
a lot of the
wiggly-
outlines of the future butterfly on that pupil case.
It just hit me like butterflies are like onions. They just
Yeah,
keep
one layer at a
layers
time.
inside and inside.
So yeah, a chrysalis is not a silk sleeping bag that they
This is
spin
how
and
waddle
then crawl
dogs are
into.
made, too.
It's their skin.
I didn't know the
They
larvae
take off their
had
old
baby
skin
bats.
like
I
a
thought they were just Barbie
jacket,
doll smooth.
and their new body is inside. This isn't kids' book stuff. This is more like Silence of the Lambs. So now we're on metamorphosis stage 3,
Quiet
where the
days,
caterpillar is
big
now a
cat.
pupa.
Cozy,
Thanks to all the
quiet days
energy and
ago.
protein stored up during the larva phase, the pupa is physiologically self-sufficient and lives off the nutrients it consumed as a caterpillar. And if you thought the run up to the pupa stage was weird, just wait. Things get even stranger,
pupa.
cooler from here. So if the caterpillar doesn't like completely dissolve, turn into butterfly soup, then abracadabra its way into a new body, what is happening inside that bag of mystery? For starters, a whole lot of dying.
What?
See, the cells that a caterpillar doesn't need anymore, they self-destruct. This cell death is also triggered by hormones. Those hormones tell cells to activate digestive enzymes to break
bug.
apart the cell's proteins and other parts.
bugs.
And the pupa recycles
I
this
love it.
protein to fuel the rest of metamorphosis. So, yeah, pupa essentially eat themselves. A caterpillar's muscles, jaws, most of
too.
its gut, its stubby little legs, they all break down because an adult butterfly doesn't need them. And while things are reorganizing and growing inside the chrysalis, the new parts the future butterfly will need are already there on those imaginal discs, growing into their final form.
Imaginal discs.
Now, for a long time, we couldn't see what was going on inside of a chrysalis. But with modern technology like CT scans, we can watch the science happen. This is the inside of a chrysalis. And you can see
Hi,
it's
Nataka.
getting not a lot going on.
Nice bug.
You can see the
Welcome,
digestive tract in the middle. and the caterpillar's breathing tubes. You can even see the proto-wings. But none of this really looks like a butterfly.
Proboscis.
Yes, but over time, the butterfly's eyes get bigger and more complex. It grows antennae. Its body shape changes. And of course, those proto-wings grow into their full flappy splendor. Now that the caterpillar is done becoming a completely new
There's a short
animal,
book vid for
the
cute.
adult butterfly is
Okay.
ready to emerge from the chrysalis.
Can watch
And this
that
part of
one
the process is
next.
known as eclosion. It starts when the butterfly's brain releases
Eclosion.
yet another hormone that gives it the strength to bust through the chrysalis wall like the Kool-Aid man. And once the butterfly's free, it hangs upside down, pushes a blood-like substance through its wings to help them expand. This finally
Blood-like
allows the wings to
substance?
dry and harden enough so the butterfly can take its first flight. One of the coolest things about this total metamorphosis process is that different families of insects put their own spin on it, sometimes literally.
Spin.
For instance, instead of hardening their skin into a protective chrysalis, moths do spin their metamorphic sleeping sac out of silk.
Silk.
Probably why they come out with such great hair. And ants do all this inside enormous colonies, pampered by thousands of older sisters. And baby
The
bees
older
do their thing, locked
sisters.
inside tiny hexagonal prison cells like
Prison
some weird
cells.
dystopian metamorphic matrix. Beetles and cicadas do it too, often buried in the ground for their entire childhood. And if you're a fly, you might do all this in a dead body or a hunk of poo.
No.
Where's the children's book about that, huh? So that's the how. The deeply strange ways insects transform their squishy little larval bodies into their final forms. But why do they do it? Why is
Why?
living your life as multiple life forms such a great recipe for evolutionary success? Well, I know y'all hate this answer, but we're still not entirely sure why. Sorry, that's science. But here's some theories. Some scientists think that so many insects are fabulously homometabolists because it means that adults and their young don't compete for food. For instance, while caterpillars eat leaves and sometimes each other, butterflies drink nectar, even sweat, urine, or blood.
Blood.
Some adult moths don't even eat as adults since they aren't born with mouths,
No mouth.
which is the most extreme way to avoid food competition and another tally in the Silence of the Lambs column. Scientists also theorize that metamorphosis might be a result of adaptive decoupling. This lets
It's
adult
also
and
PBS
juvenile
book
traits
and
evolve independently from each other.
reptiles.
Since caterpillars and
You have
butterflies
to remind me
face
later.
totally different
I hate how
pressures for
ruined you are.
natural
This is
selection.
giving me ideas.
Whatever the
So
reason,
cool. You have books
and
and
there
little
may be
facts,
more
but
than
they're
one, the fact
amazing.
that complete metamorphosis is so
Amazing.
strikingly common in the animal kingdom means that this is a hugely successful way to live in the eyes of evolution. And it's my favorite reminder that even seemingly straightforward scientific processes that we can see happen right before our eyes are far more complex and wondrous than we could possibly imagine. So sorry, very hungry caterpillar.
Sorry, hamburger.
Better luck next time.
Hamburger.
Stay curious.
Hamburger.
I found a chrysalis in my garden. All it needs to thrive
It's a
is just a
stick.
little bit of time and metamorphosis.
That's a stick.
But you know what we need to thrive? We rely on the support of our lovely patrons.
Hungry
Making episodes like these
hamburger.
requires a ton of time and research, and we literally could not do it without your support. That support helps us make videos the way that we know you like them. So if you'd like to join that esteemed club, help us make this show, get your name down in the description, or maybe even on screen here, just visit that link down in the description. Also, make sure that you're subscribed and you click that bell icon to turn on all notifications. It helps not only you find out
Okay,
about
are
our
we
new
done?
videos before anyone else, that actually helps other people discover this
Wait, is this
amazing
still-
science
yeah.
too.
This is
All right.
one I wanted to watch. Click Beatles.
This is a click beetle that's stuck on its back.
Why is it
It's
stuck?
kicking its legs, but can't quite get enough leverage
It's
to flip
hiding
itself
behind-
back over.
I don't know.
But that's okay, it doesn't have to. It's an insect that's famous for using its body in a spectacular way to get off the ground and back on its feet.
Boing. It's like Mario.
One thing I really like about the click beetle jump is you can see what they use to make it work. They have a little latch that's right here on their body, so they use to load and release the energy they use for a jump. I only recently found out about this, but when I did, it immediately went on my list of things I needed to film. But before I show you that footage, I think the best way to understand what that latch is doing is to actually look at how a mousetrap works. Mousetraps are spring-loaded devices, but just as important as a spring is this part here, the latch. This little lip keeps the energy of the spring loaded and ready to go.
The
and when it slips,
potential
that's the point at
energy.
which the stored energy of the system is released and the fast movement of the trap can happen.
Groovy. Groovy.
For a click beetle, their latch is on the underside of their body, between
Show
the
me
front
the
and middle
inside
legs.
of
It's
the
a single
click
peg that
beetle.
catches on a corresponding lip and holds the front of the body in place while their spring is being loaded. There are around 10,000 different species of click beetles, and they all use a version of this peg as a latch. The latch allows the beetle to load an internal spring that, when it's released, rapidly flexes the front of the body and throws the beetle into the air, with its head rocking back and forth, recoiling
Why
from the
can't
rapid
humans
movement.
have internal springs? I could do so much stuff with my spring. Jump like 20 feet in the
Here
air.
are two close-up slow-motion shots that show the beetles setting the peg latch in place as they prepare for a jump. The click in a click beetle's name is from the snapping sound that's often produced when the peg releases and the thorax flexes.
Bounce, go, go!
In this sequence, captured at 3,200 frames per second, the rapid flex of the beetle sends it accelerating off the ground at 2,150 meters per second squared, which is pulling 219 Gs.
That's insane.
Other click beetles have been measured accelerating up off the ground at 380 Gs.
How do they not get dizzy?
It's pretty cool that the latch is so visible in these beetles. In other spring-loaded animals, ones that move a leg or a mouth part really fast, the latch can be really hard to see or even internal. It's more common to see evidence of the spring being loaded or released. Like, here are two trapjaw ants about to snap. Their head capsules are actually part of the spring, and you can see them release and pop back into form when they snap if you watch here and here. This is the closest I could get to capturing a click beetle spring. After the peg latch is locked in place, the beetle can start loading the spring. If you look here under the latch, you can see part of that process as the body deforms while the muscles in the thorax contract right before the snap is released. Of all the spring-loaded insects I've filmed, I think click beetles stand out as one of the most unusual. Without using any appendages, they throw themselves
Those are
into
so
a wild,
cool. I'd
spinning,
have to be a stupid
high-flying
naked
jump.
monkey.
Why they evolved such a
At least
powerful
you can
and unique
appreciate
jump is
bugs.
actually unclear.
I don't
When
know if
threatened,
bugs can
they're quick to
appreciate
play
themselves.
dead, and when they do jump, they don't seem to be able to control the orientation of their body, and their landings are far from graceful.
Flop.
So I'm super happy that I got to film these beetles and see what they do in detail. I think
Yay,
they're pretty
beetles.
amazing. I should say that all the beetles that are in this video, I just grabbed from my yard. They're really common
What do you
insects,
mean you
so
just
it's likely that you can
grabbed
go
them from
outside and
your
find one
yard?
too. Thanks for
I've
watching.
never seen a click beetle. Alright, we'll go with Anothica's link now. Although, I like this channel, so we'll be back. We'll be back. Where else would you grab bugs from? I don't know, I would assume a click beetle might be like some weird, like, space thingy from a different continent. Deadly tiny hunters, or sand piranhas, or bees. Hold on, how about, I wanna look at the scary ones. I want scary. Let's get spooked chat.
No one said life in the wild would be easy.
Silverfish. I'll look for
Yikes.
silverfish after this one.
These 4 miniature hunters use stealth, speed, and
Hunter
lethal weapons
bugs.
to dispatch their prey in the most creative of ways. First up, check out these mysterious little towers
Have that bug in
poking
your
up from
yard.
the
What, the
forest
click
floor.
beetle?
A cunning, patient, and ruthless surprise lurks inside.
Turret spiders.
The world is a very different place when darkness falls. Most of us head for home, for cover, because as the shadows creep in, they hide things, frightful things. What is that? That little tower?
Click Beetle is
there's
about to
another
be
one.
nommed on by a
They
turret
blend
spider.
in so well.
I don't think that's a click beetle. I think that's a normal beetle. No! No!
That was a California turret spider.
California.
Its lair is like the turret of a castle,
What?
rising above the
I'll,
forest floor.
I'll post something in chat when the scary video's over.
It's lined the inside with pearly white silk.
Spiders aren't bugs, but they're honorary bugs. I think
And coated
spiders
the
are
outside
bugs.
with mud, moss, or leaves.
The camouflage is so good.
The turret leads down to the spider's burrow that can descend 6 inches underground. The spider spends its days down there. As the last
Sneaky.
rays of the sun die out,
If it makes you
it
feel any
rises.
better, these spiders are like smaller than a leaf. It probably couldn't even pierce
To
your
wait.
skin.
motionless. Until some unsuspecting
Like it's probably
creature
the size of
happens
your
by,
thumbnail or
like
something.
this pill bug.
Can you
Every step it takes creates
Yeah.
tiny tremors, betraying its location.
An appeal bug. Bug isn't a real scientific term. Taxonomy is not real science. You will not accept any other viewpoints. You missed!
That was close. Turret spiders actually have pretty poor vision.
Oh.
Instead, they rely on feel,
Pranking the turret spider.
bursting out in whichever direction the vibrations seem to come from.
Pill
So
bugs
sometimes
are crabs. The
they
music
miss.
makes it worse.
They belong to a group of spiders called megalomorphs, along with their more
Megalomorphs.
famous cousins, tarantulas
Tarantulas!
and trapdoor spiders.
Oh, the trapdoor ones are like the worst.
They pack oversized fangs that swing down like a pair of pickaxes. They were hunting this way long before spiders started building intricate aerial webs, like this orb weaver spider.
Or we were.
Instead, a female turret spider might live for 16 years
What?
and never stray from
Why
her
does it
turret.
even have legs then?
Megalomorphin' all over the place. Hey, you, hey, you, hey, hey, you, hey, you, gee,
She
you, hey, you,
only
hey,
ventures
you,
into
hey.
the world for a split second. Just long enough to drag her next victim down to its demise.
Taxonomists have
If you
the
like this
audacity to
video,
say that
please
only
hit the like
100
and
bugs are
subscribe
true
buttons.
bugs,
It
but
really
as far
helps
as
us
you're
reach more
concerned, let's
people,
just put
and we
down
truly
tree.
appreciate your
Bugs is
support.
general term for little creepy crawly
Our
little
next
fellas.
creature is straight out of science fiction.
Public
The
television is
worm
cool too, that
lion
Mr. Rogers
ambushes
is
its
dead.
prey from the bottom of its tiny
What
and
is public
terrifying
television?
sand
Exactly.
pit.
What do you mean by that? Like, isn't all television
You
public?
never really know where trouble is lurking.
Or roly polies,
When
honorary
one
bugs. They showed a
wayward
pill bug
step-
earlier. It was getting eaten.
Means disaster.
It's a cutie patootie yuki.
This small
Hello.
hole in
Watching
the
short
sand
stuff.
is
Buggies,
really the lair
heck
yeah.
of a
They're
worm
so
lion.
neat, but I will cry if I see a
And
centipede.
it's ferocious.
Hi, Claus. We are watching bug stuff
You
today.
find
It's
them
one of
in
the
dry,
incentives for
dusty
my
soil
fundraiser back
in the
in
mountains of
January.
Northern
We're doing a
California.
bug stream.
The ground
We
is
are looking at
cratered
spooky
with
bugs right now,
danger.
but we were looking at butterflies and stuff earlier.
Sure, it's a tiny little
Hope
wriggly
you're doing
thing.
good. Their
But worm
crustaceans
lions
publicly
set a
funded,
fearsome
so others when they
trap
theoretically
that's
don't need
straight
ads.
out
Huh.
of science fiction. To build it, they
Ad-free
slink
TV.
below the surface,
That's YouTube.
pushing through dirt, sand, and rocks.
So wait, is this a worm? I wasn't paying attention. It's a
They'll
worm.
fling them out of the way as they get settled into their shallow pit.
You can be full of bugs. Is it a worm?
Whoops. Try again.
It doesn't like the rock.
Then it just lies in wait.
Stabs you and wasps
It's almost
to come out.
invisible. Camouflaged by the sand stuck to its body. This ant is totally clueless.
Clueless! Ugh, what an idiot! I don't even know what we're looking at. Is it a worm? It failed! It missed! Or did it? What happened?
The worm lion strikes like
The
a cobra,
worm lion.
injecting venom into its
Oh, it's
prey to
stinging.
paralyze it.
Isn't it gonna end up eating a lot of
It
dirt?
constricts the ant, dragging it under until it's all over.
Huh.
When the
Worm
worm lion is
lion.
done feeding on the juicy innards, it flicks the empty carcass away and tidies up its pit for its next meal.
So does it have, like, what senses does it have? It doesn't have eyes, clearly.
Careful. After a couple of years of the good life, this worm lion will leave this dusty ditch behind and take to the skies.
It flies?
Because really, it's not a worm at all. It's a fly larva. It'll turn into this, a fly that lives for less than a week. Its only job is to
Oh, wait, I
mate
think I've
and
seen
lay
a
eggs.
fly like that.
But for most of its life,
Maybe.
it's sitting pretty in its pit,
Also, bugs
waiting
are really
for
good at
lunch
feeling
to fall
vibrations.
right in its lap.
The assassin bug kills its victim by stabbing it over and over. But does this perpetrator have an accomplice? Sticky droplets at the scene of the crime could be a clue.
Plant. What kind of a bug would I
Just
be?
beneath the petals of
I
this
don't know.
flower,
I
a
like
brutal
the-
murder is in progress.
I don't know. I don't think I know enough about
This
bugs
was
to
the
be able
victim
to
a few
make a
minutes
good
earlier,
decision.
a caterpillar.
I like mantises
Before
and
it got whacked,
spiders.
it was on its way to becoming an owlet moth.
And like snails. Owlet moth.
And this is the perpetrator. Celeopus spinacolus, aka the
His
assassin bug.
nose.
It dispatches its victims with this sharp weapon.
Stab.
When it's not using it, it keeps it folded up, like a switchblade. Let's review that crime footage again, shall we? Yep, the assassin bug is definitely the hitman.
Stab.
But did it have an accomplice? The scene of the crime is this tarweed. Pretty, right? But what are these glossy droplets all over the
Sticky.
place? A few nights back, this midge got trapped in them. So did this other tiny fly.
No.
Turns out the tarweed lured them with these sweet, lemony droplets.
Lemony?
This plant is an insect graveyard. Those bodies are a bribe for the assassin bugs, so they'll take care of the plant's caterpillar problem. See, the caterpillars eat its flowers.
Symbiosis.
No flowers, no pollen. No pollen, no reproduction.
V.
Now that they're on the tarweed, the assassin bugs mate.
Cool. More bug porn.
And lay an egg or two right next to the cadavers. So their offspring have something to eat when they hatch.
Yay!
Then they get to work on that job for the tarweeds. The bigger caterpillars put up a fight.
Oh, I bonked it.
The little ones, they'll try to make themselves scarce, dangling down on a line of silk. But plenty of them end up like our murder victim, sucked dry.
Slurp.
With the caterpillars out of the way, the tarweed mastermind can hang on to its flowers and spread its pollen for one more day.
If you love learning about wildlife, subscribe to our weekly
So
newsletter.
you about
It's free.
frog
Link
fractions,
in the
but it was
description.
prophetic.
Dragonflies are masters of the aerial attack.
I guess
But their
so.
babies grow up underwater, where they use a lightning-fast killer lip to nab their prey.
Lip? What? Wait, dragonflies do that? No
For
way.
over 300 million years, these
I used to
lethal
live in a
hunters
place
have
that had
ruled the
dragonflies.
skies.
They're so pretty.
They're the order
They're rare
Odonata.
though. At least where I
That's
lived.
dragonflies and damselflies.
You'd see
to
like
most
2
of
a
us.
year.
Before the dinosaurs even existed, they had a 2-foot wingspan, like a small hawk. Today, they're more modest in scale, but no less deadly. Take their eyes. Each tiny hexagonal cell picks up light from a different direction, which gives dragonflies an almost 360-degree range of vision.
One of bug predators are pretty hardcore.
Four
Dragonflies
wings
nickname you
help them
calling your
hover or
friends.
turn on a
Cute.
dime.
They make such an interesting sound when they
That
fly.
means this hunter
They sound like little
rarely
helicopters.
The weird thing is, Odonata spend most of their lives in a place where these killer piloting skills don't
Centipede
help.
is the size of a lion. It'd be like dozens of times faster and
This
stronger.
is where their mothers lay their eggs.
Centipede lion.
When they hatch, the babies, called larvae or nymphs, spend months or years underwater.
They live that long?
Their wings are still growing, so they aren't any help in scoring a meal.
I didn't know dragonflies lived that long. I thought they were like normal flies where they like live like
It's
a
a
week.
larva eat larva world down here.
Oh.
Did you see that? Let's slow it down. The nymph
is
has
that?
a killer lip called a labium. Remind you of this creepy thing? For this skimmer nymph, it's shaped like a spork. Only dragonfly and damselfly nymphs have this special lip. This kind
Yeah.
of dragonfly nymph, a darner, has an
What?
exquisite size.
I didn't say anything
There's
weird.
a pair of pincers right at the end. It all happens in a fraction of a second.
I'm so impressed too by like these
Think of the lip
wildlife,
as a knife, fork, and plate all rolled into one.
these
When the meal
wildlife
is over,
filmer
it folds
people,
up
like the
neatly,
camera people,
ready
getting
for the
these
next
clips. They must wait
These
for
baby
hours and
skiers
hours
don't stand a chance.
waiting for these shots, but they're so cool
And
in
that's
the
good
end.
for us.
Yoinked. Hi, nitty
Let's hope
gritty.
it stays this way for a few million more years.
If you liked this video, please consider supporting us by becoming a Deep
Okay,
Look
we're done
Patreon
with this
member.
scary
You'll get
one. I said I was gonna post in chat. We're supposed to look for silverfish, I think. Do you think that's gonna be on this channel? We're doing tears later. What are silverfish scary? This must be a firebats and silverfish are rocking some old school looks. Yeah, I know the silverfish in Minecraft.
In the middle of the
Can you link the tier list? This one kind of sucks, honestly. It's way too short, but here. I literally just searched, like, bugs, and it's, like, the first one. Wait, exhaustive and labeled. Maybe this is the better one. This is probably the better one. We'll do this one later, though.
night, you walk into the bathroom.
Is that a silverfish?
What is that? It's shaped like a fish.
No, it's
and
not.
even has shimmering scales.
I've never seen a silverfish
But it
in my
also
life.
has legs, 6 of them.
It's like...
This insect is a fire brat.
Brat!
Fire brats and their close relative, the silverfish, don't come out of your drain as it might seem. They just happened to wander into your sink and can't climb out.
In Arizona, this is what happens, but it's scorpions, not silverfish. I saw so many scorpions that just like fall in the sink and can't get out. Scorpions are awful, by the way.
They live in dark places, hiding in your walls.
I don't like scorpions.
Or a stack of newspapers.
So
If they're near a
salamander.
source of warmth, all the better. They get the name fire brat from their attraction to heat.
Oh, they're in the mud.
And they like to live where they eat. This page could make a tasty meal.
Oh, so they're
Fire
like
brats and
moths.
silverfish are the original bookworms. They love the books you keep meaning to open.
Huh.
They also love the cereal in your kitchen.
It's kind of crazy
Look
to me that there's like
closely.
species in
You'll
the world
see
that can
traits some of
survive
the
off
earliest
of like
insects had
eating
around
cloth and
400
paper.
million years ago. Take these 3 long filaments. The 2 outer ones are called cerci. They work like antennae, detecting chemicals and predators. Like this house centipede.
Is that a centipede?
Other insects like cockroaches have a short pair of cerci.
I hate cockroaches. Ah.
But very few insects have this 3rd one, called the median caudal filament. Its tiny hairs
I don't get
detect
grossed
the
out by
faintest
bugs, but
air
cockroaches give me because
A
they have
fire
that
rat
sort
is
of like
born as a mini
disgusting.
version of itself.
Like
That's rare for insects.
I
This
don't know.
ancient way of developing is called a metaboly.
The cockroach flips. What do you mean flips?
It's totally different than the
Wait, we watched
metamorphosis
a video
an
about
insect like a
clicker
butterfly
bugs
goes through, from caterpillar to pupa
earlier.
to adult. That's called holometaboly. This complete transformation is an advantage. The caterpillar feeds on leaves, the adult nectar. So a butterfly doesn't compete with its younger self for food. But a fire brat does, sharing
These
its
trout
food
really
at
jump off
every
ledges,
life
catch
stage.
them with their hind legs and flip.
Luckily, it can go months between meals.
That's
Like
awesome.
the original insects, fire brats don't grow wings. Most insects do. I mean, wings are useful. You can reach different kinds of food and steer clear of predators. The diversity of insects exploded when wings appeared. That's why there's hundreds of thousands of species of flies. Yes, mosquitoes are flies. And only a few hundred species of fire brats and silverfish.
It's insane that they
Maybe
can
you're
find
thinking,
hundreds
why
of
didn't
differences
fire brats
in
just
these little
change to be
tiny
more like
things.
other insects? The thing is, evolving doesn't mean an animal or plant keeps moving towards some ideal version of itself. All it has to do to survive is keep up a big enough population. And fire brats have for millions of years. Also,
Fire
as far as
rats.
pests go, they're not so bad. They don't
What?
bite or sting, and they have enzymes in their gut that digest tough cellulose. One day, we
Yay.
might even be able to harness those enzymes to make biofuels from plants. Not bad at all for an insect
fire
firmly set
brat
in its
engine.
ways. Hi, it's Laura. Getting a little tired of your roommates right now? Here's a playlist of some deep look critters that would happily move in if you let them.
Killer
like
surfing
ants,
snails.
fleas, termites,
I want to
and
watch more
yes,
of this
bedbugs.
channel.
Also,
Hold on.
Deep
Just like
Look, a
cockroaches,
series
they're gonna
shot
look
in
at
ultra-high
hissing
definition
cockroaches.
that is
Why? Why? 4 tiny romances that are almost too freaky to share. That's not bugs. No, bees. We already watched bees. But these... Wait, did we watch bees? We watched bees playing with balls. This is different.
There are over 20,000 species
like
of bees on the planet,
Just
and
like
each one
cockroaches.
is full of
I don't-
surprises. These bees prove
No!
there's more to bees than just honey and stingers.
I don't know if I can
Like,
watch
did
that
you
in
know
the
that honeybees turn the pollen they collect into a special food called
Maybe.
bee bread? Check it
Bee
out.
bread.
Okay, time to head to work. But before this honeybee starts her
They're so
commute, she's
cute.
prepping her tools.
Hissing cockroaches
Because
are
honeybees
chill. I
collect
mean,
pollen. You knew
I'm
that.
sure they are.
But it's not as
But
simple as you might
I don't know. I
think.
can't get rid of the
Plants want
association
the
with
bees
disgusting
to carry the
things and
pollen away
cockroaches.
and spread it to other flowers. That's pollination.
Would
how
I ever
plants
consider doing
reproduce.
beekeeping? Yeah, if I were, that would
But
be like,
bees also need to
that'd
carry
be
lots
cool,
of
I
it home.
think.
Pollen is a protein-packed food
As
for
far
the
as like
hive.
self-sustaining food
Luckily,
sources,
they have the right
bees
gear.
are like
They are
probably
hairy, like tiny
like
flying teddy bears.
lowest maintenance, maybe.
She's covered in 3 million
Like, what do you have to
hairs
do to
for
take
trapping
care of them? You
pollen.
just give them a home.
They're even
Hi,
on
hyena.
her eyes.
Like the really fat bees that look even more impossible.
Here on her legs,
The
they're shaped
bumbles.
into spiky brushes and
Bumble,
flat
bumble,
combs.
bumblebee.
When she lands
Hissing
on a
roaches are different
bloom,
than bug
she
than lowly
really
American
gets
German
in there.
cockroaches.
Nibbling on the flower's anthers detaches the pollen.
I don't know.
Time to pack up her haul. She cleans it off her eyes and antennae with those brushes on her front legs.
Look, they're so
like windshield
hygienic.
wipers. Here it is up close. That leg wipes the pollen right off her eye.
It's not doing a very good job.
Then she moves the pollen from leg to leg, like a conveyor belt. Front to middle to back.
Is the orange round thing
The
the
bee does
pollen?
this super fast while she flies from bloom to bloom, moving the pollen into special baskets on her back legs called corbiculae.
Are they baskets? I thought it was just a bunch of pollen wadded up in a ball.
She bends her leg, using it to squish the pollen into a ball, packing it together with a little saliva and nectar.
Yeah, that's what it is.
She can get
It's
as
not a
many
bag.
as 160,000 pollen grains into each ball. She's hauling as much as 1/3 of her weight.
Big pollen bags.
Back at the hive, meal prep is about to start. But the pollen isn't for making honey. The honey, under this wax, is made from nectar. They eat it for its sugar. Bees turn pollen into something completely different. Bee bread. That's their source of protein.
Bee bread.
Step 1. Find an open spot. Step 2. Deposit your goods and pack them neatly.
So the whole thing comes off.
Step 3.
And
Let the
blows.
pollen
Hi,
marinate
Kimsa.
with a hint of honey.
Bees. Welcome, welcome. Happy
And
bug
voila,
day.
it's ready. The pantry is stocked, both for adult bees and the babies that are growing in the cells next door.
What do you mean, so I don't really do with it?
The adults pop in to drop off a special bee bread snack.
They just
A little home cooking for the hive's future hard-working
Bee.
flyers.
If you like this video, please hit the like and
Oh, I
subscribe
thought it was
buttons. It
done.
really helps us reach more
Step
people,
4.
and we
Hire a
truly
narrator
appreciate
that
your
sounds
support.
like TikTok Jessie.
Next time you enjoy an ice cream
She
cone,
kinda
thank an
does.
alfalfa leaf cutting bee. These bees are so tough, they get punched in the face by flowers.
What?
Okay, this bee seems confused. That leaf she's gnawing on is no flower. But this is an alfalfa leaf cutting bee. She needs hunks of leaves to build her nest.
Huh.
A lot of them.
This bee looks like a
All
big
this
fly.
is her lacy handiwork. She hauls the pieces back home. Leaf cutters use them to line the inside of their nest.
Hey, wait a second. This is a bee box. This isn't real. They couldn't
In
find a
nature,
real
she
one.
might use a nook and cranny in a log. But here, her nest is in what's basically a bee apartment building. A high-rise
It's just
made
on a
of
trailer.
styrofoam.
Styrofoam. Half of YouTube seems taxed with bee sources. I think this is real.
These markings help
think
the
this
bee find
is a
her
real
way
voice.
back to her personal condo. You know, like 7 bees.
Wasps, mean and cool. We should
And
watch a video
furnishing
about
it
wasps
takes a while
today
because
sometime.
see that pile? These are the pieces they dropped.
Yuko,
Yeah.
would you also be interested in
The
looking at the
bees are
bobcat
here
index
to work in this
stream?
alfalfa field
It
in
lists every
California.
type of bobcat
Sure.
that's appeared in the
They're from
comic.
Europe originally,
Shorts I only
but
recently
farmers here
learned
use
about
them
the
because
site
they
book
have a
appeared.
real knack for pollinating alfalfa flowers, which grow tiny seeds
Potter
inside
wasps.
these curly
Cuckoo
pods.
wasps. Okay.
Farmers use the seeds to plant new fields of alfalfa.
Alfalfa.
Which
I think
is grown to
alfalfa
make
is what
hay.
they used to feed cows. Yeah.
To feed these gals.
Yeah, I was right.
So
Hey, I knew
really,
something.
Your glass of milk comes courtesy of these bees.
Have we watched stick and
But
leaf bugs yet? No, we
alfalfa
can do that
flowers
later.
is a lot trickier than
We've
it
seen
looks.
we've seen
Even
butterflies.
honeybees can't
We've
really
seen
hack it.
bees playing
Here's
with balls. We've seen
Alfalfa keeps
clicker
its
bugs,
pollen locked away inside its
evil
flowers.
bugs.
To get it, the bees have to step on a spring-loaded petal called a keel petal.
Keel petal.
Here's how it works.
Kill.
Pop. It releases this column that has the pollen at the end.
That's weird.
It's called tripping the flower.
Why?
Here it is again. The column has some force. The bee might get a good thwack in the face.
The butterfly
Leaf
video we
honeybees
watched
just
earlier
don't
had
care.
like
They
straight
can
up
take
bug
a
porn in
punch.
it.
Pop.
It's like a surprise. It's not even close.
Honeybees
Meat
don't really like to
bees.
tangle with that.
Carry
They'll
on,
usually step around gingerly, trying to sip nectar from the side without setting it off.
Why do they want to
Leaf-cutting bees
avoid it?
get coated in pollen and bring it back home to their nest so they can pack it in there to feed their growing babies. Each one is bundled in a little leaf-wrapped bassinet. Aw, there they are. The siblings all
They used
lined
an
up together.
X-ray.
A new generation of the toughest little bees around.
Why would these bees be digging into the dirt? Well, building your nest underground is a great way to protect it from invaders. Unless, of course,
Bindweed.
freeloading flies torpedo the nest.
Stinky
Life
flies.
for bindweed turret bees is violent and unfair. It's spring in California, and these male bees are in an all-out
goodness.
brawl, desperate to mate with the female trapped at the bottom of this pile. Sometimes the fight is so intense that the female they're going after gets crushed to death.
No.
But if she survives, she and the winner steal away and mate. Until another male wants in. Buzzkill.
The bug porn.
Now she starts an epic dig, prepping a place to lay her eggs underground.
Seriously, don't say that.
She tirelessly scoops earth with her mandibles.
So what do the male
dousing it
bees
with
do? Why
nectar
aren't
she
they
collected
helping
earlier
dig?
to soften it. The majority of the world's bee species, 70%, nest in the ground. These ones chose a dirt parking lot. Some nice folks cordoned it off to protect the bees.
Oh, thank you.
Females work side by side. Each is queen of her own funky little castle. They build turrets, but only some of them are vertical.
Oh, so there's like lots of female
Many are
bees.
tunnel-like with a sideways entrance. Others curve down. You'll see why that's important in a bit. Once the bees are done digging, they head off on another mission. They gather
20,000
pollen from one plant
gigabytes
only,
of bug pollen.
morning glories, also known as bindweeds. She rubs her shaggy legs all over that pollen.
Why are the female bees doing all the work? Where are the male bees?
And down she goes with her haul.
The little turrets look so fragile, like they're gonna break.
Pollen pants.
That's so much pollen. Male bees are just there to mate and then they die.
Inside her nest,
good.
she packs the pollen into neat balls, each one in its own chamber, and lays an egg on top. When the egg hatches into a larva, it will live off the pollen.
They're so small.
As she toils, freeloaders show up.
No,
They
stinky
look like a
flies.
bee, but their huge eyes give them away. They're called, wait for it, bee flies. The fly doesn't dig or gather pollen for her young. She just hovers over a bee's nest and...
What? The
Yep,
egg?
she's dropping her own eggs in there.
What the?
She'll drop 200 eggs over her lifetime. This is where those tunnels and curved turrets are useful. They make it harder for the flies to drop their eggs in from the air. But when the fly does succeed, the fly's egg hatches into a larva that digs tiny hooks into the bee larva.
No!
As the bee eats the pollen and grows, the fly larva sucks it dry.
The bee larva.
Sometimes the flies are so successful they can nearly wipe out a population of bees.
Why don't
But
the flies
these
get
bees
attacked?
don't give up. 2 or 3 months of mating, foraging, and warding off parasites come to an end when they seal up their nests with dirt. Below ground, babies will grow. The following spring, if the bees are lucky, a new tiny city will burst to life, full of bees persevering, just as their mothers did before them.
Flies. Flies are pretty cramped.
If you love learning about wildlife, subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It's free. Link in the description.
It's free.
Bees may be famous for their sting, but these stingless bees defend their delicious honey with barricades, bouncers, and bites. Take a look.
Bouncers.
At the break of dawn in Oaxaca, Mexico, bees are tearing down the barrier they built last night to cover their nest entrance. Another successful night protecting their honey and babies from thieving ants.
Ants.
They make this lattice out of a blend of wax and a potent ant repellent. More on that later. They're not eating the waxy material, they're stashing it to reuse tonight. Just like the honeybees that sweeten your tea, these honeymakers live in a colony.
Why did they have to
But
open it
they're
up so
smaller
wide?
and don't have stingers to protect the sweet stuff. That's why they're known as stingless bees. There are more than 600 species of them in the tropics around the world, mostly in the Americas.
That's
And
so
they've
many.
been around twice as long as honeybees. No bee stingers, no bee suits needed. Emilio Perez is a stingless beekeeper. in the highlands of
Whoa.
Oaxaca, land inhabited by the Chinantec people.
I still would wear gloves at least. Come on.
This is Melipona
No
beechii,
gloves.
one of the 4 bee species he keeps. He only raises native bees. Scientists say moving species
Whoa.
around can spread diseases that harm them. So, how do these teensy bees without stingers protect their honey? By annoying you. Some tangle in your hair or eyebrow and give you a bite. It only feels like a pinprick, but they could summon a whole swarm of their sisters by releasing pheromones.
Getting your eyebrows.
In any case, for these bees, the
Fluffy
best
kitty
offense
bee
is
boy,
a good
kitty bee boy.
defense.
Bee
Guard
kitty.
bees stand watch
Kitty
at the nest
bee.
entrance. Melipona beechii has just one imposing
Buzz,
guard
buzz.
stationed on this ledge
Buzz.
shaped like a flower. Other species employ as many as 15 guards. They cover the perimeter of trumpet-shaped entrances.
They're on the lookout.
If an outsider tries to come in, like this bee from another colony, the guards sniff it out and kill it. These peculiar structures also make great runways as bees go off to work in the flowers.
I think you can be a
They're not
bee. I'm not
picky.
to see the
They
trace.
collect
That's so
nectar
cute.
and
Bees are
pollen from
cute.
dozens of plants, which they pollinate in the process.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Stingless bees also collect resin. It's the sticky stuff plants like this cedar make to keep out burrowing insects. See how she stows the drops on her back legs?
That's actually so cool. It's a lot more visual than the pollen.
Different plants have different hues of resin. Yellow, white, red.
Oh.
They mix the resin with wax to make a pliable building material called cerumen. Your average honeybee just uses wax.
Cerumen.
Stingless bees shape cerumen into little
So is that
capsules for their
stronger than
offspring
just
and
wax,
stack
or?
them like a tiered cake. They also use the material to make their honey pots, these orbs.
Oh.
Yum.
It's a freewheeling architectural style compared to honeybees' hexagonal cells. Now, remember this protective barrier? It's made of cerumen. The resin mixed in with the wax is what keeps the ants away. They hate the resin smell and stickiness.
That makes sense. They're a lot
Once a year,
smaller, so they
Emilio
get
and his
trapped in
daughter
it.
Salustia collect honey from their nests. Stingless bee colonies are smaller and usually make less honey than honeybees. Each of their Melipona beechii colonies makes about 9 pounds a year, just 1/7 of what a honeybee hive produces.
Spooky. Oh, I don't know what's doing there.
The Deep Look team got to sample it.
Strong fermented flavor.
Tastes like sweet tarts.
That's scary. We can watch that
Stingless
after.
bee honey
I
is sold as a
guess it's
health
short.
product to treat things like sore throats. All honeys
Does it
contain
taste
hydrogen
different?
peroxide, which is antimicrobial. Stingless bees visit a variety of plants, many in the rainforest. So scientists are studying their honey and resins for chemicals that might have medicinal
But
properties.
does it taste different? I would love to try stingless bee honey.
As the sun goes down,
Although
bees head
if
in
it
for
make
the
if the
night
bees make 7
and
times
cover their
less or
nest
whatever,
entrance once again.
it's probably 7 times more expensive.
No effort is too great to protect the riches
And honeybee
everyone is
honey
after.
is already expensive enough.
These bees
At least
build
here where I
nests out of
live.
mud that they pack with purple pollen for their young.
The actual like
And in the
real
process,
honey is
they
so
help us grow
expensive.
fruits and nuts. What's this bee up to, digging around in the mud?
It looks like a fly.
This blue orchard bee is a mason. a
It's got
builder.
the icky
Her
green
material
color
is,
that
you
flies
guessed it,
have.
mud, and she works alone. In fact, unlike those
quality of the
honeybee
honey.
hives you
Yeah,
might
it's
think
worth
of,
it.
most of the 4,000 types of bees in North America are solitary. See how she scrapes the wet earth? She collects it with two huge pincer-like tools on her face called mandibles.
Mandibles.
She's gathering mud to make her nest. The nest is long and thin.
It's basically
In
the
nature,
same
she
as the
goes into
leaf
places
ones.
like hollow
the leaf
twigs.
cutter ones.
At the University of California, Davis, she uses a 6-inch long paper straw provided by researchers. In this nest without a straw, you can see how she builds a wall of mud. Then she gathers food
She's
from
so
spring
good at it.
flowers, but not only to feed herself. See the pretty purple pollen on the anther of this flower?
Antler.
She grabs the anthers with her legs and rubs the pollen onto hairs on her abdomen called scopa.
Scopa.
And while she's at it, she sips a little nectar from the blooms. When she climbs back into her
Hi,
nest,
Fontaine.
she turns the pollen
Welcome,
and
welcome,
nectar
welcome.
into a
Happy
sweet
birthday.
morsel next to the mud wall.
I hope you're doing well.
On this purple
We're
ball,
watching cool
she
bug
lays
videos
a
today.
single egg.
One egg.
She repeats this several times in her narrow nest. Egg, wall, egg, wall.
Wait, so they're stacked like...
When she's done, she seals it all up with more mud.
Huh. Then what? Doing good. Hope you're all well. I'm doing good. I woke up earlier today, so I got all my chores
A
done.
cross-section of the nest
No, I'm
shows her
happy to be
incredible
relaxing and hang out.
craftsmanship. It looks like a piece of jewelry.
Jewelry is
Soon the eggs
a stretch.
The hungry larvae feed on their pollen provision, the purple lunchbox their mom packed for them.
So why are they like blocked off from each other?
Still in the safety of the nest, the well-fed larva spins a cocoon. The following spring, the adult bee chews its way out.
What kind of bee is this?
Just like their
I
name
forget the
says,
name. Oh,
blue
blue
orchid
orchid.
bees love
Orchard.
orchards, fields of almonds and sweet cherries. And they're really good at
They look like
pollinating.
flies.
A few hundred females can pollinate as many almonds as thousands of honeybees. And their tube nest means they're portable. That makes
Yay.
it easy to distribute them to farmers. So why haven't they taken over the fields? Well, they reproduce slowly. They only have 15 babies a year. A queen honeybee has 500 a day. So there just aren't that many blue orchard bees around.
500 a day
But
is
some farmers are
crazy.
enlisting them anyway, hoping they can provide some relief to their struggling honeybee cousins. If you look carefully, you might just spot a blue orchard bee foraging out in a field, helping keep
Have I seen the
fruits
blue
and
bumblebees
nuts
in
on our
Australia?
plates.
I don't think I have. Are they like
If you
blue
liked
blue?
this video, please consider supporting us by becoming a Deep
I've
Look
seen a whole
Patreon
bunch of
member.
bees, so
You'll
I
get
didn't know there were so
exclusive
many
show
different
updates, behind-the-scenes
varieties.
footage, merch, and
Why
more.
are bees
Click
so
the link on
mean?
screen
Because
or
it's a
email.
hard life being a bee. Okay, now this is the one that Dover linked. It's kind of, it says a clump of spiders. So, spider warning, I guess.
Warning, do not watch this if you are absolutely terrified of arachnids. So as I was hanging out by this really pretty little waterfall, I noticed this bizarre...
Why do they sting children?
Hairy whatever.
Oh.
I thought it was a dead plant.
I never got
But
stung by
I
a
looked
bee when
down
I
and
was a
saw all the
kid.
daddy long legs, it immediately dawned on me. This is a clump of hundreds, if not thousands, of daddy long legs.
Why are they clumped?
So naturally I started poking at them, and with just a few gentle nudges, they all came flying out. Also known as harvestmen, scientists have 3 ideas of why they might do this. One is to prevent drying out, another is to protect them from predators, and lastly, it could simply be a way for them to all stay safe before they go hunting at night.
Look at them.
If that was hard for you to watch, please accept this canyon tree frog is
I think the daddy long legs or whatever, the harvestmen, they're like so harmless looking. They're like little dots. Oh, and hi, Laser Charles. Welcome. Because kids are dumb and they deserve that. Aren't daddy long legs not spiders? I don't know. They look like spiders to me. I don't know. What kind of bug now? A super powered pea. We'll wait for Sheena to watch the pea bug. Ladybugs? Ladybugs. Hawk versus hydraulic friends. A snail goes fishing. Fly torpedoes. These are really short videos. The one at the top of the list are like long. I guess they've only just recently started to do long videos. Like the 15-minute ones. We still have this video channel too. Watch the bug we're eating. Which one? This one? Okay. You'll find the blue bumblebees. Okay, if you find a good video, I'd be happy to watch it on stream. She is leaving for their trip soon. Oh, so they might not be here today?
You've seen this brilliant red before. In textiles. World-renowned paintings.
Long ones are just short ones stuck together.
Even in the red coats once worn by the British Army.
40.
In fact, you've probably even tasted
They were
this color.
days. Oh, hi, Mika.
And it all comes
Well, that's
from
exciting.
an insect. Deeply rooted in the history of Oaxaca, Mexico.
Oaxaca.
Cochineal. Instead of blood, most insects and arachnids have hemolymph, which is clear.
Oh.
But the cochineal's hemolymph is a rich crimson.
It's bug
Despite
blood.
the vibrant color they produce, the cochineal's life isn't exactly adventurous. They begin as a pinhead-sized nymph, also called a crawler, for obvious reasons. It wanders around juicy cactus pads, looking for a place to dig in. The nymph starts bright red, but
Yeah,
within
you can
hours
post
of
it
hatching,
here.
it's
Post it in
coated
chat and I'll
in
grab
fluffy
it.
white wax. Filaments of wax ooze out of these pores and grow longer than the nymph's own body. This coating prevents
When I
the
live the
insects
life
from
of this
drying
bug,
out
it
in the
seems
hot
a little
sun.
boring.
When a female finds the perfect place to dine,
Thank
she
you,
uses
Fontaine.
her
We'll
mouth
watch it
to
after
hook in
this one.
and hold
This
on.
one's short.
She'll stay here for the rest of her life, eating, ballooning in size, and
What does the
making
wax
even
do?
more wax. Males, when they're a few weeks old, encase themselves in cocoons. When they emerge,
You
but
thought you
first,
could get rid of me.
they've grown
You
wings.
thought wrong. Look at
These can help them glide to other nearby cactus pads in
Creature.
search of
Hi,
mate.
Shino. We were just talking about you.
But usually a female is just steps
Shino,
away.
how is your streamy?
They get busy.
You're busy. Bug porn?
A few weeks after mating, female cochineals lay their eggs. Within minutes, bright red nymphs hatch,
Are
often
reacting
before the
to
eggs
watching
have
bug
even
videos,
dropped.
Jumbo Scorpions. It's bug day.
So
Happy bug
what's
day.
responsible for the cochineal's deep dark red?
Post is 5 minutes. You can skip if it's
Carminic
boring. I don't
acid.
mind watching the whole
A
thing.
bitter substance that deters nearly all predators. But not this hungry beetle larva. It gulps down so many cochineals, it turns red itself.
Yummy.
No hiding what you had for lunch. Carminic
Long
acid
video,
is
like,
most concentrated in female
it's halfway done. It's like
cochineals,
5
which
minutes
live
long.
3 to 4 months.
2 more minutes.
To harvest female cochineals, people gently brush them off cacti and dry them in the sun.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a ton of
Indigenous
them.
people in Mexico cultivated cochineal long before Spain made it a global commodity. In the 1700s, the insect
she
was
knows
as
got
valuable
purple check
as
mark.
silver. Not only was its pigment beautiful, it was also fade resistant. In Teotitlan del Valle, a Zapotec town
Just
outside
grabbing it
of
with your
Jalisco,
hands.
weaver Marina Gonzalez grinds
Oh, Sheena,
dried
thank you for the
cochineal
gifts,
on a
Abby. Thank you,
metate.
thank you, thank you.
She dissolves the powder into large tubs of boiling water to dye wool.
That scared me for a second. Didn't look like wool. It looked
Next,
like
her son
guts.
Juan Carlos removes the wool. Cleans it and dries it.
You gotta get the bug parts out. Right?
Juan Carlos's brother Alejandro uses a loom to transform the colored wool into stunning designs. It takes about 5,000
bug-
dried cochineals to
bug
dye this
tapestry.
medium-sized tapestry.
I kind of love it.
Cochineal shows up in other places too, like your
She
food.
is not going to vape.
Manufacturers
She's
often
going to
use it
vape.
as an alternative to artificial dyes. But it may cause allergies, and it is definitely not vegetarian. The cochineal's lasting,
Punches
vibrant
are
color
cute.
may be the closest the natural world has come to making a perfect red. This insect may only live a few months, but its legacy will live on for generations.
Yay!
Hey, it's Laura. In food, cochineal is labeled carmine, cochineal
Carmine.
extract E120, or natural red 4. And speaking
Is
of
the
red,
blue
let's
blue
talk
bumblebees?
ladybugs. They fly huge.
Blue bumbles? Yeah. They look like flies. When any bug has that weird, like, greenish blue color, it's just fly to me. One of 1,700 species. 1,400 species. There's no voiceover, sadly. Is there not like a... Hold on, maybe we can find something better. Blue banded bees. Well, there's this one.
Yeah, it's Bug Fact Friday. You can
Yeah. Hi, welcome. Oh, and thank you so much for the Prime Sylvie. Welcome. Senyunya. Yeah. Welcome. Self-cleaning. This one seems like it probably has a voiceover. Maybe not. The hissing cockroaches. I don't know if I want to watch cockroaches. What bug would I want to be? I think a mantis. Praying mantis. Not a cockroach. They're trying to say that the hissing cockroach is chill compared to the other kind. I don't like cockroaches either. The beast, all their voices, they're pretty. They look like they have a spike on their nose. Speaking of a mouse winning a fight against a scorpion for a minute, I don't want to watch animals fighting each other. Tick. Shino tick. Proboscis. Tracks in this video? Oh, the music tracks. Alright, this guy talks.
G'day, Nick from AustralianNativeBee.com.
AustralianNativeBee.com.
It's not proboscis. It's actually
I'm going to
proboscis.
show you how to
Proboscis.
put them into something so that you can take those back to your own home for your garden. I had a call out from the council and there's blue-banded bees nesting in the middle of the city of all places. So they've asked that I
The mouse
try
howls
and
to
remove
assert
them or get
dominance
them
after
nesting in another area. So I'm going to show you how I do that today. I'm just on my way to someone's house who has some already pre-set up boxes that I'm going to use, so I'll show you those later.
The blue butts. They honestly just kind of look like flies.
Okay, we're on location here in the middle of the city, and you can see that there's blue-banded bees wanting to nest in between the cracks.
But I wear this hat as a sub in the center word. What, the sun hat? It's not very interesting.
I'll just show you. Alright, you can see the blue-banded bees here. Now,
Yuku, would you still love
People
me
have
if
made
I
some
was a bug?
complaints. I don't know why.
Yeah,
They're
I would
scared of
eat you.
bees. But basically what's going to happen is some guy's going to seal up these gaps. Any bees that have laid their young in there won't be able to get out, I guess, unless they climb up through the top. But what I'm going to do is put these blocks. This is compacted sand, but compacted dirt works a lot better. It's a little bit noisy here.
The bees love
so
the
yeah,
dirt.
we'll drill a couple of little holes into the blocks to start the bees off, and then we'll leave them here for a few weeks and come back. Alright, so I'm just going to drill explore a few more little holes in these sand blocks, and when there's nowhere else for the bees to go, they'll go in there.
So we're tricking the bees. This isn't as much about the bees as it is about the bees as it is
Alright, so
about
we're back here.
relocating them.
All the
I want to
joints are
see them
taped
up
up.
close.
The bees are just going crazy looking for somewhere
Bee
to nest.
extraction.
So we put the boxes down closer to where they're actually flying about. And we've also made a rammed earth one.
Rammed earth.
From talking to John Clump, he said that rammed earth is a favourite. So we're going to leave those here and just see what happens with the bees.
Do I like hornets? I don't know much about hornets. I want to watch more of this channel, because this one we only saw a few videos over. Like, we only had one video of this one. We could do... I want to watch... I want to watch... Yeah, we watched the click beetle one on this channel. That one was good. We could watch the wasps one. Wasps.
When I picture a wasp,
at 'em,
I
they
think
have
of something
such-
like this.
they have
This
cool
is the
alien
intimidating stare
helmet
of a
face.
bald-faced hornet. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous filming this one up close and in flight.
It's
This
really
wasp
pretty
lives
though.
in a colony and defends its nest with a venom-injecting stinger. But social wasps like this represent less than 1% of all wasp species. As I found out filming the rest of the insects in this video, most of them are creatures that live vastly
This is
different
about
lives.
bees.
Most species of wasp, like this braconid, are solitary parasites. Most of them qualify as parasitoids because they
know.
use their thread-like
We've been
ovipositors
watching
to
more
lay eggs
scientific
in or on a
videos
host,
today. We
usually
can watch
another
that later,
insect.
maybe.
The eggs hatch and the wasp larvae feed off of and eventually kill
We're
their hosts as
here
they
to learn
develop
about
into
bugs. Mostly. It's the cool bugs.
Here's what that can look like.
stream.
This is a tobacco hornworm moth caterpillar feeding on a tomato plant. Those white things sticking up on its back aren't eggs, they're cocoons.
It has hair.
Wasp larvae that have been living inside and feeding off of the caterpillar burrowed out of its body and spun these silk cocoons. The wasps spend their pupal stage like
Does
this,
the caterpillar
attached to the
mind?
caterpillar until they're ready to emerge as adults. If you watch here, you can see the emerging wasp cut a circular cap off the top of the cocoon and come out head first and ready to fly.
Oh. It like totally cuts it so clean. Hi, Weird Platypus. I thought by the title you were going to play
Here are
bug
adults
snacks.
of that
So
species
fun.
in flight.
I
They belong to
loved
the
bug
Bracona genus
snacks.
Cotesia, which has over
I
70
played through all
species,
bug snacks
all
and
of
the
which specialize on
DLC
infecting butterfly
last
and moth
year.
caterpillars.
It's really good. I love that game.
Speaking of caterpillars, these plant-feeding creatures aren't butterflies or moths, they're larval sawflies. Here are the adults. Sawflies are the most ancestral group in the ant, bee, and wasp order. In other words, every
Ancestral?
wasp, bee, and ant evolved from a sawfly-like ancestor.
Oh.
They mostly feed
They have
off of
such
and
small,
develop on plant
flimsy
tissues.
wings.
And you can tell
Compared to
sawflies
how
from
big
wasps
they're-
because sawflies don't have a narrow constricted waist between their abdomen and thorax.
Huh.
This
What are
sawfly
the bug
belongs to a
snacks
group
devs
known as
doing
the
these
wood
days?
wasp.
I hope they're making
Here
a
on the left, you can
sequel.
see the lack of a constricted waist really well.
Hi,
These
colors.
adults deposit their eggs into
Monkey
dying or
time.
unhealthy
Get
trees.
bugged
The
on.
larvae bore into the wood
It's
where
nice
they
to
feed,
see the
mature,
colors.
and
I
if
hope
they're
you're
lucky,
having a
merge as
wonderful,
adults.
cozy day.
One thing in the way of that process is this, an elacid wasp.
Oh my goodness.
If you look right here, you can see how this one has its ovipositor drilling down into the wood of a recently fallen maple tree. These wasps specialize in injecting
breeding
their
the
eggs into the
tree.
larvae of wood-boring insects, and they go after two types: larval wood wasps, like the one you saw right before this, or wood-boring beetle larvae. These are somewhat uncommon wasps, with about 200 species described in their taxonomic family. But the key to finding them is finding a recently felled tree that wood-boring beetles and sawflies have already began to populate with their young. In all these flight sequences, you may have noticed that while there are distinct front and hind wings, they're coupled together and flapping as a single unit. That's because the structure is here in the leading edge of the hind wing called hamuli. Hamuli are a series of hooks that attach and hold onto a section of the forewings. All ants, bees, and wasps have these structures, and the ones you're seeing here are on the wings of this, a wasp belonging to the largest family of wasps, the Ichneumonids.
They're very glistening.
There are an estimated 60 to 100,000 different species of Ichneumonids. This one, in the genus Acrotaphus, is an ectoparasitoid of spiders. On the left, you can see a young Acrotaphus larva attached to the abdomen of an orb weaver spider. And on the right, an older and way larger larva still feeding.
Big larva.
Here's another
The spider
spectacular
doesn't seem
Ichneumon.
to mind.
This one, in the genus Trogus, specializes on swallowtail butterflies.
So they're all.
They lay an egg in a young butterfly caterpillar and remain inside until its pupal stage.
They're all
Once you
kind
have
of
a butterfly
parasite
emerging from the
eggs.
chrysalis, one of these,
scenario
in
we
this adult
discussed.
form, chews its way out, ready to go
In a
off,
sales
mate,
costume
and
decade
find
ago,
another
what do I
caterpillar to
mean?
parasitize.
They're cool. But I don't like how they lay their eggs in other people.
So
It's kinda
those wasps
rude.
in flight are only a tiny representation of what wasps are. For instance, there are several groups that are completely wingless. The last clips I want to show
Wingless
you are of a wingless
wasp.
wasp I filmed over a year ago. It does something amazing, and I'll probably
Apparently
never
the
have
Bug
the chance
Snacks
to film
guy
it
was
again.
only working on a Bug Snacks
This
card
is
game.
a tiny wingless
Card
parasitoid
game.
wasp in the genus Laelaps. Although I collected this one from the leaf litter in my own backyard, they're rarely encountered. So much so that this specimen is now one of only a handful we have in the state insect collection in North Carolina. Here's what it can do. These two sequences were captured at 40,000 frames per second. What they show is this wasp is using its middle legs to power an explosive jump. It only takes
Jumpy.
2.6 milliseconds for it to get off the ground, and it accelerates at about 215 meters per second squared, which is around what a leafhopper can
What
do.
about people?
Parasitoid wasps like this are special because they're the only insects that use their middle legs to produce high-powered
Maybe
jumps like
wasps
these.
are scary.
So wasps are
and
pretty
stingy,
incredible, right?
but sitting a
I hope your view
vast
about what
number
wasps are
of
has
types
changed a
of
little
wasps
bit.
and
I know mine
discovered
has after making
that
this
they're
and
much
filming
more
all those
evil
species.
than that.
Thanks for watching.
I mean, at least I'm not a caterpillar. I'm not at risk of a wasp laying its eggs in my tummy. Okay, I want to get up and close my window. Could look at these ones more. These ones are longer, right? Or no. This is the one that was like shorter the older you go. Not you. Close my window, it's getting cold. Alright, here, let me give you a video and then I'm gonna go close my window. Here, let's go. Let's go. These are too short. Why are they so short? Let's put on a sale when you're not allowed to buy gifts for anybody. No gifting allowed. No gifting. Buy it for yourself. Buy it twice for yourself. The meat bee. Of course we want to meet the meat bee. Wasps are soulless players challenging humans. full of angry.
Time for some grilling.
What if you're a cat?
But what's
and
up with this bee
you?
helping herself to my burger?
Bee
Shouldn't she be off
burger.
pollinating something? She's often called a meat bee, but she's not a bee at all.
That's not a bee.
She's a western yellow jacket.
That's
a type
same
of
thing.
wasp. You can tell her apart from a bee because she's a little bit less hairy. Right now, this yellow jacket is on a hunt for tasty protein. And she'll have what you're having. But first, she does a little quality control. Sensors on her mouthparts and antennae help her judge the food's condition. She slices off
Yeah, I
a
did before I
chunk
started
with
stream,
scissor-like
but I need to close it
mandibles.
now because it's getting
But she
cold.
doesn't actually eat this fine fare. Mature yellow jackets like her don't need the protein themselves, so she rolls it up into a meatball.
Meatball.
Using her forelegs and mandibles, and takes that burger to go, flying it back to her underground nest. And she does it all for these cuties.
The wasp stealing your
Yellow
burger.
jacket larvae need protein to develop, and they like meatballs. All that gathering food and flying around gives our adult yellow jacket an appetite. She prods the youngsters, and they offer their thanks in the form of a sugary throw-up.
Would they
or
feed the
exudate.
larvae and then the larvae feed them?
The adults slurp that up and jet off on more meatball missions.
Huh? The
And
larvae
yellow
feed...
jackets bring back all kinds of interesting entrees.
It's a moth.
Ever tried moth wings? Cockroach croquettes?
No!
As these yellow jackets make mouse tartare for their babies, they can clean a carcass down to the bone.
Oh,
And
poor
that's an
mouse.
important service. I mean, would you want to clean this up?
Very
To help
icky.
fuel their frequent flying,
Sure,
they
there's something
stop
when
at
you're over
flowers,
in America,
down
you
in
won't be able to
sugary
watch these
nectar,
things to
and
count too.
pollinating
That's
as
okay.
they go. But what about that sting? Unlike her bee cousins, she can sting again and again. But it's a last resort when she
Leave
or the
Sheena
nest
Labs
is
in the
threatened.
basement.
So, give them some space. And try to remember the good she does as a scavenger, a pollinator, and a provider for her colony.
Sheena Labs is coming with you.
As she's swiping,
Why do you need Sheena
meatball from her plate.
Labs? Aries terrified
Laura
of bees
here.
and wasps
What's
and
colorful,
hornets.
cute, but
Why are we watching bees and wasps and hornets? Then, okay, I need to put on like a long video so I can take a quick breaky. Let's see if my YouTube homepage recommendations have been infected with insects. Hey, it has been. Marmot gets to experience the foam maker. I'm sorry? Is that alive? That's not a bug. We can't watch that. No, we can't. Parasitoid. Oh yeah, we didn't watch more of this guy's stuff. We only watched 2 of his videos, and his videos are long. I don't want to watch more wasps though. How about plants that explode? They don't do a lot of insects, do they? Shrimps, dogs. First draft intro. There's not a lot of insects, is there? Add a section after the frogs. Vulture views. Do you have a vulture view video? Can you link it to me? Silkworm moth. The stream is so cute. We're having fun today. Got stung in the ear at 4 and stung in the pinky at 5, so you hate bees for life, huh? Shrimp are like bugs, crabs. What do you mean? Hold on, there's gotta be some more Tarantulas might be too scary. How about can't link anything or gooning? Quit gooning! Never gotten stung before, thankfully. You just thought it would terrorize you. I've never gotten stung before. The mosquito ticks. Here we go. We have some bugs. Watch the mosquito. Yeah, mosquito sucks. That's its job.
This episode
I'll be right
is
back.
sponsored by Brilliant. Learn to think. Dale? Dale, I think you should see this. There's something in
Fuck
the
you,
water.
mosquito.
No, it's
That
not the dog.
bitch.
Well, I don't know what it is, Dale. Describe it? All right, it looks like Snuffleupagus, but reimagined as a dildo, wearing glasses. Does that help, Dale? No, I'm not drunk. Dale, I really think you should... What the fuck? Let's back up a bit. This is a raft of Culex eggs, seen from below, and they are just about to hatch. Now, if you have that thing where lots of little holes freak you out, this might be a good time to go to the kitchen and get something to eat. Not a bagel, that has a hole, and not pimento olives either. You might as well just stay and watch this. Well, you've been warned. And here come the bibbies. There are more than 3,500 known species of fly in the family Culicidae, otherwise known as mosquitoes. All of them begin their lives underwater. This shot is pretty crazy. The newly emerged larvae have to breathe, and they breathe air. But they don't do it with their mouth holes. They do it with their back bits. Right there, right above the pooper, is something called a siphon. Some species, like those in the genus Culex, have quite long siphons. And they look a bit like those poles on bumper cars that connect to the roof. When the siphon is underwater, 5 little flaps on the end pucker up to keep it shut. But when they attach to the surface of the water, they open up. And that is how they breathe. Look at that. You're staring right into a mosquito's butt. You can try this in your local pool. Just jackknife under the water, let your butt breach and spread them. Then blow out your mouth real hard and see how long you last before you get arrested. Air enters the siphon and into a series of tubes which transport oxygen to parts of the body. Some species, like those in the genus Anopheles, don't have a siphon. Instead, they have a hole on one of their segments, and to breathe, they lie parallel to the water's surface, which has some drawbacks. Anopheles kind of does its own thing. Look at that, its head can turn all the way around. It's horrifying. Demon baby. The main job of a larva is to eat and grow in preparation for its transformation into an adult. Most species are filter feeders and use little brushes to filter tiny crap that's floating about into their mouths, like straining soup through a mustache. There are, however, mosquito babies that specialize in eating other mosquito babies. For example, the larvae of the elephant mosquito Toxorynchites. I bet you can't tell which one it is. Oh, shit. Got him right on the butt. And that's the thing about kindergarten. There's always a biter, and in this case, there's a bunch of them. I mean, look at this friggin' thing, the larva of the fly Chaeborus. Looks like a can opener that came to life. I mean, you certainly don't get close to there. Told you, now that baby dead baby. And then you have to worry about the dragonfly larva, psychos. And look at that, they eat your butt first too. It's a terrible way to die. Start with my face if you eat me. And I don't even know what this one is. I'm not Googling it. Don't want that in my search history mixed in with the porn. Someone might get the wrong idea. The point is, it can be tough to be a little mosquito baby and make it all the way until you're ready to pupate. As the larvae grow, they must molt and shed their exoskeletons. On the 4th molt, however, something different happens. Instead of emerging as a bigger larva, it emerges as a pupa. 2 little ear-like things called trumpets pop out at the front near the head.
Trumpets? What the heck are these?
They are the new breathing apparatus which replaces the siphon.
What did I miss
Their body
about
becomes
mosquitoes?
more of a shrimpy, curled up sort of thing.
Also, hi,
It sort of
Slink,
looks like a
welcome.
depressed ghost.
Hope you're having a cozy
One time
day.
he said boob by mistake, and
Boob?
now everyone laughs at him. Inside this pupa, the adult
What I
form of
miss?
the
You linked
mosquito will
it.
be constructed. But listen,
What did
this
you
isn't some
link?
bullshit butterfly pupa that just sits there while you
Australian
wait. This
native
thing
stingless
can move and
bees.
dives
Okay, I'll
quickly if
watch it
there's
after
danger
this one.
about.
That's like
In
40
2 to 3
seconds long.
days, the
Or
transformation
no, it's
is
15
complete.
seconds long.
Now slightly above the surface of
Hi,
the water,
hi.
the back of the pupa
Time to
splits
eat a
open.
bug, but first.
Underwater, you can see air enter the pupa as its exoskeleton separates from the adult within. And that
What
shit
am I
is
watching?
packed in there good. I mean, there's a lot of parts in there folded up.
They're so
It's like getting a
small.
bunk bed in a box from IKEA.
Oh,
On
most
the
bugs are
surface, it is a
small.
pretty fantastic entrance. It's like how Lady Gaga would come out on stage. Very dramatic. On the other hand, Toxorhynchides, the elephant mosquito, emerges a little more like...
Are these how
Hello.
mosquitoes are born?
I mean, it is a pretty incredible transformation. A few days ago, this thing was a friggin'
What's the
worm.
pea
And I'll
bug?
tell you, puberty would be a lot better
Which
if it
one was
happened all
the
at
pea
once like
bug?
that. Just unzip the back, pull off the skin, and you'd have a full bush on your pits.
Huh?
After its wings and body have dried out a bit, the newly emerged adult is ready for its first flight. No qualifications, no prior experience, by the way.
Pea
Unless you
fox,
count
virgin
convulsive
bug.
swimming. Fortunately, the adult is equipped with some
Pea
very
bug.
sensitive navigational instruments. 2 antennae, which can
I
get
don't know
quite
if I want to
bushy-bushy,
search pea
especially
bug
with the
on
males,
stream.
connect
Sounds
back to
scary.
2 bulbs over the eyes. These contain Johnston's organ, named after Johnston, who must have had a tiny organ. Johnston's organ can sense the
Johnston's
slightest
organ.
movement. Grow up. Of the antennae. It is incredibly sensitive. It is thought that when they approach an object, they can sense minute changes to the airflow around their body. This allows them to fly in the dark without bumping into things. Their wing stroke is quite unusual. It is a shallow, twisty movement that creates pockets of swirling air which support the mosquito in flight. Now that it can fly, the newly emerged adult needs to find food. I know what you're thinking, but before you get your undies in a bunch, you should know that for day-to-day nourishment, mosquitoes eat sugar, mainly from the nectar of flowers. This means they are pollinators.
Yeah.
Look at this one, he's filthy with it. He's got plant sperm all over him. There are some flowers that
Do
are
they not
mainly
eat human
pollinated by the mosquito.
flesh blood?
Males of all species will only eat sugar their entire lives. Females of most species will also take blood meals in preparation for laying eggs. But there are some species, like the elephant mosquito Toxorhynchides, that don't feed on blood at all.
No
it's
blood.
like a perfect mosquito. It eats other mosquito larvae, pollinates flowers, and it doesn't even bite. Sure, if that back leg there fired a little laser, it'd be more perfect, but still. Hello! In order to make babies, female mosquitoes need some of that male mosquito sperm. But first,
Hey, bug porn.
a message about our sponsor. Brilliant is a problem-solving based
Bug
website
porn.
and app with over 60 check them out. Where
Bug
were we?
porn.
Oh, right.
Bug porn.
In order to make babies, female mosquitoes
Babies.
must mate, and depending on the species, that goes down in different ways. Sabethis are the most extra. They do a little courtship dance for each other in
Whoa,
their
looks like
crystal leggings like they were
feathers.
club kids in Ibiza. Jerry, do we have
Can't
footage
believe
of
they're
that?
short,
Oh, that's
uncensored.
not it. That's a frog peeing on another frog, Jerry. What do you mean, how can I tell? It's what? Never mind. Dinosaurides wins the award for creepiest mating. They live inside of crab holes, which should set off alarm bells right there.
Crab
These are
holes.
Dinosaurides males on the surface of the water. They're sort of skate fighting with each other to jockey for position. Because here's what they do. They camp out over a pupa and wait for it to emerge. If it's a female, they mate with her right then, before she can even fly. Told you, crab hole creep. With other species like Aedes aegypti, it's more like a hookup at a karaoke bar. Males get all turned on by that f***ing whining sound of the female's wings. Look right here. You can play a female tone out an earbud, and a male will come over and try to hump it. Disappointing for the male, but also the earbud, who's already got a shitty job jammed in your ear hole playing your podcasts, and now it's getting dicked by a skeeter. Anyway, when the male approaches the female, the two seem to adjust their wing beats to
Interesting.
try to converge on a harmony.
Oh,
Now, if the
like
female
an
isn't into it,
albatross.
she has plenty of ways to tell the
Mosquito
male to
boss.
fuck right off.
Crawling
But
out of
if
the
she
water.
hears what she likes, she accepts, even if she's freaking glued to a rod. I don't know if I'd be up for it, but everyone's got a kink. A blood-feeding female needs blood to make her eggs. The majority of species don't prefer humans. Anything that has blood is fair game. There are species that specialize in frogs or snakes. Some feed on fish like mudskippers or even manatees. Uranotemia sapphirina prefers earthworms. And the earthworms seem like they're down with it. Free acupuncture. Look, they're riding on it. It's cute. In this clip, when a car
Surely
goes
the
by,
worm
the
doesn't like
vibrations
me.
cause the worms to duck underground.
Trinked.
And the mosquitoes kind of get pulled in with them. I'm telling you, if you have blood, you're getting bit. Even the mosquito itself isn't safe. There's a midge that specializes in feeding from mosquitoes that have just been feeding on something else. And you know something's sucking on them too. It's mosquitoes all the way down. The mosquitoes who've gotten a taste for humans, on the other hand, are very good at finding us. When we exhale, we create a plume of carbon dioxide. Mosquitoes that enter one of these plumes become hypersensitive to other stimuli and try to track back to the source. When they get close enough to use their vision, they look for dark colors and areas of high contrast. When they get even closer, they can sense body heat and the odors from sweat and bacteria. Some species, like Anopheles gambia, are particularly attracted to the smell of feet, the little kinky bastards. So go ahead and hold your breath. They'll find you anyway. When these mosquitoes land, they have a bounce to them and even use their mouth parts as shock absorbers. And let me tell you, these are not your ordinary mouth parts. On the outside, there's a sheath. It looks like a closed tube, but it actually has a slit up the front.
If Yuko was a mosquito, I would let him. Never mind.
At the very tip of the sheath, there are two sensory probes called labella. You can think of them as little kissy lips. Now, when the mouth parts are inserted, the labella stays on the surface of the skin. The sheath splits open and bends into a sort of U shape, and you can see what's inside. Now, it looks a bit like a needle, but it's actually 6 different structures bundled together. 2 of them are like the muscle of the operation, with tiny little saws that cut through the skin. 2 others are like the lookouts. They hold the tissue apart. They hate
I'll
their job.
take your
The 2
blood
remaining
on
are like the masterminds of the heist. One, which pumps in saliva, is like the security and alarm systems expert. The other, the labrum, is the closer. It pierces the blood vessels and sucks the blood up. From the top, it looks fairly straightforward, but under the skin, you can see it's a little more loosey-goosey. This looks like the inside view of a teddy bear being humped by a chihuahua. You can see the mouth parts separate, and they're very bendy and flexible. There's often quite a bit of searching that has to happen before a capillary is found. Remember, they can't see any of this. They're just groping around like a surgeon operating on a patient buried in a ball pit. And they make mistakes. Look, it went right through that blood vessel. That's a mess. And if you suck on one too fast, you can collapse it. Now, with all this fiddling about, the mosquito risks being detected. However, the mosquito's saliva contains cocktails that help turn off the host's alarm systems, both numbing the nerves and suppressing the immune response. The saliva can also contain some unwanted hitchhikers the mosquito picked up from another host. These pathogens cause a variety of disease. Only about 5% of mosquito species carry pathogens dangerous to humans, but those 5% are a doozy and have killed more people than any other animal, including people. And people are very good at killing people. When a good blood vessel is finally found, the pumps in the head pull the blood up and into the tum-tums. Liquids get expelled out the back to concentrate the blood meal. I mean, that's straight up DWE, defecating while eating. And you know you're not supposed to do that. Not often. The female's tummy parts secrete a membrane that surrounds the ingested blood. This allows her to continue eating sugar while the blood is broken down into the building blocks she will need to make eggs. That's right. There are mosquito babies out there that were made from bits of you. Some species, like those in the genus Anopheles, pictured here with a match so you can get a sense of how hard it is for them to pick up a smoking habit, lay their eggs individually on the surface of ponds or marshes. And each egg is equipped with little floaties on either side. Other species prefer to lay their eggs in containers that fill up with water when it rains. Could be a hole in a tree stump or a discarded tire, even the cup of a flower. On the plus side, if you lay your eggs in those, there won't be any fish or dragonfly larvae. On the other hand, it might dry out before your larvae become adults. As a sort of insurance, Aedes aegypti lays its eggs above the waterline. There they... Oh, she knocked a couple down. No mother's perfect. I mean, who hasn't lost a child or two at the water park? There they can stay dried out until it rains again and the container fills up more. Now, Toxorynchides, the best mosquito, also likes laying its eggs in containers, especially if there's other mosquito larvae in there that its babies can eat. They sort of butt-whip their eggs into the container while they're flying. If you look close, you can see it. Right there. Little egg bomb. Now, here's something special. Researcher Rachel Moriali recently observed a novel behavior. When the smaller Aedes aegypti females sense that a Toxorynchides female is egg-bombing their hole, they fly right up and start harassing it. Look, they're knocking right into her like a blackbird mobbing a hawk. That's aggressive mothering. You wouldn't expect that. But here's another one. Females in the genus Trichoprosopon. Can't pronounce that.
Thanks.
Jenny, fix it in post, would you? Females in the genus Trichoprosopon stay with their eggs and guard them. Her eggs are arranged in a little raft that she holds between her legs. Now, other species make rafts too, and they're very carefully constructed. Here you can see a female Culex mosquito building one of her rafts.
The
Each egg individually glued to the others. I mean, that's magic right there. It's like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. I mean, if the hat was your butt and the rabbit was a tic-tac.
There's so many.
It looks like the stress test room in a condom factory. How are they holding up? There's a little leakage, but other than
take
that,
care,
they're
QB.
fine. What, Jerry?
Be safe. Thanks for hanging out.
What do you mean, what are mosquitoes good for? You don't ask that question,
Yeah, mosquito
Jerry.
video made me a little
Mosquitoes
itchy.
are good for making more
Why don't you
mosquitoes,
watch
that's
that?
what. Ask a chicken what people are good for.
This one, right? What is this? The meat bees. This looks like the nest of the stingless bees. Oh, it is. That's not meat, it's resin. We watched a video about this. It's tree resin that makes it red. It's not meat. We watched a long video about this. Vulture bees. Are those the vulture bees? Okay, let's find a bug that's not scary or itchy. How about those aren't bugs. Peacock spider. Skeleton shrimp. Stingcorn. The pea bug. Find me a pea bug video. I don't want to search pea bug. I legitimately don't want to for TOS reasons. Dung beetle. What's dung beetle about? Ants. Frogfish. Octopus. Can I like search insect? So you watch the bee balls. The pea. Okay. Wait, this is the Deep Look channel. Did I like
Not
house
a
over the
cloud in
pea?
the sky. So how's it raining under this
And
grapevine?
what's that in the cup?
That's not rain.
Oh.
That's pee.
Oh.
It comes from this insect, a
Does
sharpshooter.
lobster magnet count
And
as
flinging
bug
pea
content?
rapid fire like
a
this is
magnet?
crucial to its survival.
What isn't the bug? I
The
have to
sharpshooter
watch
gets
it.
all
What is
its
it?
nutrition from the thin, watery liquid inside a plant called xylem sap, which it sucks out with this tube-shaped stylet. Both the brilliant blue adults and their translucent nymphs feed on the sap in grapevines and other plants. The sap has so little nutrition that sharpshooters need to guzzle non-stop. They
What's an
consume
internet
more than
music video from
300 times their
2000?
body weight a day.
I would like to
That'd
watch
be
more
like you downing
educational
over 80
content.
bathtubs of cucumber water. Yeah. The sharpshooter uses massive muscles in its head to suck out the liquid.
This isn't that
Taking all that liquid
interesting.
in presents a problem. How to move it out. When you're this small, gravity won't just roll this effluent away. Instead, surface tension makes the drops stick to the sharpshooter. Gah! And if it can't remove those drops, the sharpshooter could get sick or rot. So, best to send that pea flying away as fast as possible. And the sharpshooter has evolved the perfect tool for the job. An anal stylus, or butt flicker, if you will.
It's a butt flicker.
As the pea flows out of the sharpshooter, it accumulates. When enough of it collects, kapow! The flicker catapults the drop away with tremendous power. They even do it while doing it.
Bug porn! Once again. Bug porn.
Here's something incredible. Each drop of pee actually travels faster than the speed at which the butt flicker launched it.
Why?
It's called superpropulsion.
Superpropulsion.
Scientists at Georgia Tech filmed sharpshooters peeing in slow-mo. The researchers noticed that after the sharpshooter forms a pee droplet, it gets compressed. Like what happens to a water balloon that hits the ground and flattens. A force builds in that compression, which then springs the balloon back into shape and away from the surface. The same goes for the drop of pee. It picks up speed as it returns to its orb shape. So why would researchers want to study insect urination? Learning how sharpshooters eject liquid could help our own tiny devices do the same and be more reliable. Things like hearing aids or phones. Everyone has something they're good at, right? The sharpshooter? It's a whiz at whizzing.
I wish I could shoot my pee out at people.
Check out our recent.
Okay, well now, we could do the tier list stuff and the other thingy. The other website. This is the site Astro one to look at. No, I don't want to listen to. Listen to yours. You sent a cat video. It's not bugs. But yeah, this site's cool. It's like bug identification. Like you can like check out like, hey, I have a bug. It looks like this. And it's brown and red. And I found it in Hawaii. And then it's like, oh, you found one of these bugs. And that's pretty neat, right? The only problem is that it's like sorted alphabetically. And it's just kind of dense. Small and fast, ant mimic spiders have similar coloring to certain types of ant, with bodies shaped a lot like ants. It may be difficult at first glance to tell if this creature is actually a spider. This does not look like an ant. It looks like a spider. In an effort to blend in with their food source, ant mimic spiders walk with a pair of their front legs raised in the air, sometimes rubbing them together, mimicking antennae. They may also occasionally tap their abdomen to the ground. These cunning behaviors can make it tricky even for a human to identify it as a spider. It looks so much like a spider. What are you talking about? I want to see one with its legs lifted up. But they don't have any pictures like that. Hi, Kenny. We're doing the bug stream. How's it going? Can I find a bug tier list? There's this one. They're not very, like, thorough. I figure I do the tier list at the end. Even your nickname. It is venomous. Can you be drawn? Yeah, you told us yesterday. You said you entered an art contest, and the person running the contest really liked your art, and that's awesome. Have you been drawing more today? I just want to look at scary looking spiders, honestly. Look at this! The spider builds this orb-shaped web between plants and garden beds. It sits in the center of the spiral web with its body upside down, waiting for prey to ensnare itself in the web. It keeps its dark belly facing south, most likely in an effort to absorb solar heat, enabling it to stay active longer in cooler weather. Compass. Beautiful wood nymph moth. If this looks like a slug, It looks like a little grubby worm. It's believed that the strange color and pattern seen on the beautiful wood nymph moth is a form of camouflage. Their multicolored appearance resembles bird droppings. No! Imagine being a bug and that's your camouflage. Oh, look at this one. That's so rad. As a member of the blister beetle family, Meloidae, this southwest species has the ability to give handlers great pain for their trouble. The black and red blister beetle can secrete or leak a caustic chemical called cantharidin from its body when under threat that greatly irritates human skin as well as insect predators. The effect of contact results in painful blisters. The gooper. I wouldn't want to touch that. It's too red and scary looking. Hi, Kane. Thank you for the pets. Come on, mimicking other bugs, mimicking plants. It's so well and good, but mimicking bird. I guess you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. Yeah, I like this side. I just wish it had different sorting options other than alphabetical. Brown hooded owlet. I've seen a little caterpillar like this. Brown hooded owlets have tall, pale hairs over their head that are tipped with brown. This hood almost resembles a mohawk hairstyle. I do not see it at all. Oh, I see. That's a stretch. Common scorpion. This is the kind of scorpion that I would see in Arizona a lot. Probably. Species is adapted to a variety of habitats, existing comfortably in the desert scrub as well as sandy coastlines. Cooler areas like forested mountains are also places one may find it. There's two checkered beetles. I like these. Big wigglers. Oh, this one doesn't have a description. And it's so small. Rhinoceros beetle. The hefty coconut rhinoceros beetle is large and black. An adult male has large horns while a female has smaller, shorter horns. It bores holes into the young upper fronds of coconut palm trees. It then drinks the sap that is released by the plant's soft tissue. This frond damage reduces coconut production and could kill younger trees. Coconut rhinoceros beetles are pests on a variety of other common island plants such as pineapples, bananas, papayas, dates, and taro. Larvae feed on mulch and plant debris. The yellowish grubs are also large, growing up to 4 inches long. Big beetle. There's so many butterflies and moths. Crab spider. Why is it called a crab spider? It has such big legs. It doesn't have a description. Slug moth. Oh, it looks so much like a leaf. It looks like something alien. Stinging. It stings. Or can serve by stinging insects. Ogre spider. You want this one? Nursery robe spider. The nursery robe spider derives its name from the delicate care a female takes of her egg sac. She gently carries the sac with fangs and builds a web for it in high weeds or low shrubs, suspending it inside of a leaf so it is less visible and more difficult to reach. The female surrounds the sac with layers of silk and then guards this leafy nursery and all her eggs until they hatch. Spiderlings remain in the nursery for about a week after hatching and then head out on their own. Aww! The spiderlings. It carries around the babies. That is a big nursery. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's an ogre spider on this website at least. Dog day cicada. Every dog has its day cicada. Seen frequently on the hottest days of the summer, the dog day cicada is a harmless insect that happens to be a delightful food item for many other animals. Raccoons, wasps, and other insects feast on the cicada all season long. Adult cicadas have a call that sounds like a circular saw tearing through wood. And in large numbers, that noise can be almost deafening during the day and night. Do you need chibba? Nothing. Can listen to more energetic music. Echo Moth. This one doesn't have a description. Emerald jumping spider. Oh, pretty. It's the one with the eyes. The emerald jumping male is black with a white side stripe on each side of its head area. A white border rounds the top of the abdomen. Females are brown with orange details. Both sexes show a flashy metallic green coloring on the abdomen and thorax, which is especially visible when light reflects off of the spider. A faint line of hairs runs down the center of the abdomen, and small white dots lay on either side of it. Okay, this is just a description. Physical description of cute little jumping spider. Ogre faced.
Hi, I'm Jay Staffstrom, and I
Hello.
work on some of the coolest spiders on the planet.
Look at
These
it.
ogre-faced net casting spiders that we worked on for this paper not only have unique and fascinating foraging behavior, but they also have some really cool sensory systems that are
It's
well
got
adapted
big
to allowing them to
eyes.
capture prey in their own net casting method. The species that we actually looked at is Dinopus spinosa, and you can find them here in Florida
It's
or
long.
scattered across the southeastern U.S. So these spiders are nocturnal. They do nothing during the day but hide and wait until sunset. When these spiders come out at night, they exhibit some extraordinary hunting behavior.
It's got a
that's
net.
totally unique to this family of spider. And what they do is they'll make a frame web that kind of looks like the letter A out of non-sticky silk, and then within that frame they'll make a fuzzy rectangular net that they hold with their front forelegs, and they'll actively ensnare prey with this net.
That's
They can
so
catch prey in
cool.
this net, both with prey items moving beneath them, like walking on the ground beneath their frame web.
Throw the net at you.
Do a forward strike is what it's called, when they're lunging downward and tackling prey that way. Or if an insect is flying above
My nose is
or
itchy.
close by, they can actually spring up backwards.
Stretch net.
And that's called the backward strike. And catch things out of the air.
Backward strike.
Overfaced
Forward
spiders
strike.
from the genus Dinopus have the biggest eyes of any spider. And they're hypersensitive to light.
Your nose is itchy.
Obviously useful
Can I lick
in
it
their
as self being
nocturnal
blood?
Yeah,
foraging
come here,
habits.
Shino.
And that's something that I specifically have shown
Come here,
not long ago,
Shino.
that when you visually occlude their enlarged eyes,
No,
they're
no.
no longer able to capture prey walking beneath them when you put them back out in nature and let them do their thing. But those same spiders can still catch things out of the air just fine. And so that finding actually backs up previous research that hypothesized that these spiders can actually hear prey that they're catching with their backward strike. That's something that we wanted to further investigate. Like, can they actually hear from a distance? What can they hear? Are they more sensitive to specific frequencies? Stuff like that. Yeah, and that's what this paper is about.
It's pretty cool. I like the big eyes.
Useful and
They look kind of like a freak. What are these? It must have 4 eyes. Big eyes, then little eyes. Esther, did you link me that bug cat thing? Because I might have missed it. I might have missed the bug cat index of bug cats. The marmot gets to experience the foam maker. You're asking another streamer if he can make a toggle for collabs so that he and his friends could whip out their long tongues and do long distance tongue kiss. Did they do it? Thought you want to do it later. Well, I don't have anything else to do. Probably gonna wrap up the stream soon. I'm all out of bugs to look at. Zero review pets, pet cockroaches. Ew. Why would anyone do that? Okay, thank you. Can you give me the non-translated page? Oh, I guess the translated page is fine. Hissing cockroaches are so cute. I don't want to look at hissing cockroaches. If I could give me the ability to spin web, would I? The only price is that you'd make a lot, you get hungry. Yeah, I would live in a nest. I'd like a webby nest in trees. They said stop asking sus questions. I think it's a valid question to ask. I don't have good music. Why did you want the non-translate? You wouldn't be able to read any of them. That's fine. It's just coffee makers. Siphon pot, cat bug. French press, cat bug. Coffee pot, cat bug. Coffee grinder, cat bug. Bug cat. Filter cup, cat worm. Beans storage can. Mocha pot. Hand to bring kettle. Looks like an elephant. Gold cup milk cat. Espresso machine cat bug. Brewing handle bug cat. Temper cat bug. Bug cat. Coffee bean bug cat. Electric coffee grinder bug cat. Charcoal grilled milk. Caramel milk. Lemon sparkling coffee. Lemon, that's a lime. American coffee bug cat. Brown sugar. Okay. Tamagoyaki sushi bug cat. Salmon roll. I like the salmon roll. I also like the cocoa milk. The burger. Wine bug cat. Cauliflower is broccoli. And the refrigerator looks like it's gonna grab you and pull you in. The toilet looks... I don't know. Skitty bug cat. I thought bug cat and cat bug just shared the same name and you realize their names are in reverse. Yeah, they are in reverse. Although the translation seems to have gotten it backwards. The kettle bug cat, computer bug cat, battery bug cat, tape, mosquito cat, eraser, cabo fish, shark, killer whale, whale, shark, whale, lanternfish, puffer, the puffer. Aww. Ice catworm. Bug cat. Snow bug cat. Elf catworm. Aurora. Magic potion. Oh, I like the magic ones. Cat bug in a bottle. Bug cat in a bottle. Candle bug cat. I love this one. Magic Professor Mora. Is it actually a different name? Cactus bug cat. Scarab beetle. Giant wave bug cat. The witch bug cat has a name. Become rats. Thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. The alligator one is cute. Why does the pyramid one have legs? Oasis bug cat. Mechanical cat and bug mass production version. Who's my patron Egyptian god? The Poseidon. Dr. Boom. Alan. Rarity. Thank you for the follow, homunculi. Tank, car, bug cat, soldier. There's war in the bug cat universe. Yeah, just Alan. That's Alan. And that's Dr. Boom. And this is Rarity, named after its favorite pony, of course. The grenade bug cat. Oh, the crane bug cat looks so cool. The helicopter's so funny. It's got little skis. And the zombie one. Dog kapoo. Rabbit coffee. Cat, bug. Train. The V. I like the V one. V one a lot. That's good. Construction ones are good. Camera. Oh, that's all of them. When I ordered from the Bug Cat store, I got a free deck of cards that had a bunch of these alternate. It had the some of these magic ones, and then it had some of these Egypt ones too. And then some that aren't here too. Lucky Bug Cat. And it looks pretty lucky. And the pictures are really big too. I would say that all bug cats are pretty lucky though. They bring joy. I like this one too. It's good. The color is really pleasing. Hi, Vehement Broom. Welcome, welcome. Happy bug day. I'm doing good. We've been watching bug fact videos and looking at bugs today. It's been pretty interesting. I've asked her if you had to violently execute one bug cat to save the rest, which would you pick? Mosquito bug cat. Where's the mosquito? This the big sucker. The mouse and the computer. The computer bug cat is like two different entities. There's one for the like main PC, and then there's one for the monitor. TV head. Pretty skivity. It's kind of making a funny face. It's like winking at you, but it looks a little confused. Have I seen Mr. Mosquito? I don't think so. What's Mr. Mosquito? Do you think children's shampoo is too mild for an adult? Probably. I don't know anything about children's shampoo. I don't know anything about it. Alright. Got it. We can look at... We can do the tier list. Maybe. I feel like some of these are jokes though, because it's like barbicated is pink. But here, this will give you a good idea. Centipedes. Centipedes are like nah. Let me change it. Comet moth. I don't really care. Clover mite. I don't care. Earwigs. Don't probably. Elephant hawk moth. It's colorful, but it's not that special. Flat millipede. Millipede. Pretty cool. Hawk moth. Don't care. House centipede. Don't care. Isopod. Definitely up there. Jumping spider. Put in your mouth. Murder hornet. Pretty good. Cricket. Boring. Lanternfly. Boring. I don't even know what this is. Just put it in, I don't care. A wasp, some kind, I don't care. Blue mud wasp, more wasps. Luna moth, Luna moths are cool. Minecraft, I'm assuming this is a silverfish. I don't care. Blue morpho. Plant hopper nymph. I don't know anything about those. Big booty Bertha. That's probably not the scientific name, but that can go in certified lab. Daddy longlegs, don't care. Peacock spider. Cool. Plant hopper, don't care. Pond skeeter, don't care. Roly poly. Put that up there. Skeeter, don't care. Scorpion skeeter, don't care. Shrimps is bugs. Sure. Skeeter eater, don't care. Wasp imposter. Don't care. Snooticus, don't care. Tree hopper, don't know what that is. Violent mantis, no. Yellow jacket, don't care. Weevil, don't care. Don't know what this is. It's eating a carrot. Big cricket, eating carrot. Fingaroon, black widow. Black widows I don't like. Cause they used to tell me I couldn't play in the garage because of black widows. Tardigrades, don't care. Worms, pretty good. Japanese spider crab, not a mantis, definitely up there. Orchid mantis, also up there. Pelican spider, don't care. Rancho, don't care. Trapdoor spider, cool. Woolly aphid, they're cute looking. Grasshopper, don't care. Catid, don't care. Barbie catid, don't care. One locust, don't care. Pinchy scorpion, don't like. Plague of locusts, don't care. Weevil S tier pipeworm. What's so special about a weevil? I can't even look at it up close. No, I don't mind. Stinging scorpion, don't care. Springtail, don't care. Ant, squish. Aphid, don't care. This is a roach. Eyelash bug, don't know what that is. Farmer ant, squish. Longhorn beetle, don't know what this is. Lysamanes, slender hawk moth. Woolly bear, that's definitely a cutie. Alice moth, don't care. Butterfly, don't care. Damselfly, don't care. Roach, stomp. Dragonfly, pretty cool. Kakuna, don't know what that is. Ladybug, don't care. Moth, don't care. Hornworm, don't care. Slurg, don't care. Snail, don't care. Bumblebee, certified lab. Caterpillar, certified lab. Poo-poo beetle, don't care. Fart beetle, don't care. Owl city, a firefly, don't care. Honeybee, put that up there. Scarab, don't care. Big guys, don't care. Fly, stomp. Hammerhead fly, also stomp. Cicada, don't care. Stickbug, certified lad. Stinkbug, squish. Trapjaw ant, don't care. Water scorpion, don't know what that is, don't care. Tiny fly, stomp. Giraffe weevil, don't care. Papa roach, squish. Walking leaf, pretty cool. Lucas the spider. Snake fly. Okay, how'd I do, chat? It's imperative that the locusts be able to annihilate humanity. Doesn't care about Ladybug, hates me. You're not a slug. Feeling when Yuki doesn't care about you as a bug. Which bug are you, Kane? Today instead of eating you ate Ensure. What's Ensure? This is okay, maybe. The cover of Smooth Criminal went hard in high school. Papa Roach. You didn't take proper care of Ladybug as such. Your garden was devoured by aphids. I just don't really care for them. Like aesthetically and mechanically. They're just normal bugs. I think I'm pretty happy with this list. What's so special about weevils? Why did you want me to put weevils in S tier? What are weevils about? A Papa Roach song was used as a boss fight theme in Mech Assault 2, so that's pretty cool. I like big guys. Were the big guys again? It was a beetle, wasn't it? Where was that? Big beetles. They're just normal to me. Beetles has schnoz. Do we count spiders as bugs though? Yeah. Jumping spider got S tier. Next is scarab. Oh yeah, big guys. They're just normal to me. I found a video of Mr. Mosquito, so Papa Roach was in THPS 2. Or the Hercules beetle. I guess I would be under big guys. Here, we can look at other bugs. Bug tier. This one's small and doesn't have labels. Bugs. It's also pretty small. The ants are D tier. I don't know what that is. I think that's a tick. Bumblebee, beetle, butterfly, caterpillar, centipede. I don't know what that is. Cockroach. I don't know if these are. They need to be labeled. Cool bugs. Edible bugs. Pokemon early root bugs. There's not that many. Scolipede S rank. The other one's better. Ultimate bug and bug adjacent tier list. There's not that many. Alright, moth, bee. I don't even know what that is. It's like a fly or something. Aphid, don't care. Bumblebee, cool. I don't know what that one is. All the bugs are valid. Bugs are pretty cool. Ultimately has like 20 out of 6 billion bugs. True. What about recent? Rain world creatures. Almost all. Is it spoilers? I probably shouldn't do this for spoiler reasons. Bum, bum. Palia bugs. Grounded all characters. Real bugs. Can't tell them apart. If he cares about spoilers, it means he's gonna play. Let's go. Do I like lumpfish? What's a lumpfish? Lobster. I can skip around this video if I don't care. Is it bugs? Mr. Mosquito. It's Mr. Mosquito. That's cool. Mr. Mosquito. Game contains scenes of explicit itchiness. Cursed game.
Welcome to the home of the Yamada family.
Hello, nice
It's
to
summer.
be here.
Do you like summer? Summer drives people crazy, and that makes them commit terrible acts. Take the tiny, harmless mosquito, for example.
Harmless?
It doesn't have enough time to do much during its one precious short life.
Can you show me an edit
Yet
you made
with
of a
one
spider?
swipe,
Sure.
a human can snatch such a priceless life away without a second's thought. I am sure that you may already realize that
me your
you
spider.
are a mosquito, the insect that bites people and makes them feel itchy, the insect that creates a trail of swollen bites.
Can you post another bug video?
As a mosquito, there is something that you naturally have to do. You have to suck blood.
You have to
You
suck.
must suck and
blood.
store away as much human
Okay, we'll
blood
watch
as
that after
possible
this one.
in order to survive the winter.
I'm trying to max
and
as in this
see
cat. You got a
another
second?
spring.
Bernice. Let's go. Good job,
However,
another go.
Blood
Bernice,
sucking
Bernice,
is
Bernice,
accompanied
Bernice.
with much danger.
Looking cute things.
It
I'll
may
have to
come
do it
as a
after stream
surprise
unless
to
you want to
you.
link it here in chat.
But you're not welcome in the Yamada
What is this? It's just
family
talking.
home.
It's yapping forever. So you play as a mosquito. Can you change your color? Oh, you have to unlock the colors.
This is Rina's room. Rina is the daughter of the Yamada family. She went on a school trip today.
I discovered
and she
something
sprayed
about
herself
Zenless
with bug repellent.
the other day.
But that was some time ago.
The character's name is
So it's likely
Bernice
to be wearing
because
off in some places.
she's like fire.
You should suck from those
The burn
spots.
in Bernice
Good luck in
is
finding
a
them.
reference to arson. Very clever. Very clever.
Dad, you're too close to me. It's so hot today.
Aw, cute little jumping spider. That's a great edit, Jumbo.
Isn't it the time of year to take a family picture? I've been looking forward to it. How about taking a picture of just you and Dad? I don't want to be in it. What are you talking about? Why not? I just don't see why we have to take the same old pictures.
See, the ice in Bernice is a reference to her ice power. She doesn't have ice powers. She's like a crazy arson pyromaniac girl.
Want to be in this picture? It's such a pain.
Let's not bother this year.
She's got ice in her name. I don't know, I haven't played the game. She runs a bar and probably puts ice in drinks. Yeah. This game has a lot of yapping.
I want nothing to do with this. I'm going to my room.
Huh? Bernice. Yeah, this gameplay is kind of boring. I figured you'd be like playing stuff or like flying around. Maybe you do eventually. It looks like you do eventually.
I'm so tired. Okay.
Okay. Suck Rena's blood. Suck 2 tanks of blood. There's 1 EX tank here. gopher. Mr. Mosquito. This is like a fun idea for a game, but it doesn't look that interesting. Like gameplay with
what to do.
cake. There's an X tank behind the videotape. Oh. Just hit me, you go. Huh?
What?
Deadly creatures.
Why?
Definitely didn't watch this entire video, just checked it for a few minutes. What did he check it for?
Oh well.
This looks like a silly game. I'd play it, but I don't think it looks very interesting. One of these levels, you suck the daughter in the bath. Yeah. You want me to look up deadly creatures? Well, we have to watch this video first. Dover
Spiny
suggested
orb
it.
weavers get their common name from their appearance. Considering
at
there are
'em.
tens of thousands of spiders alive today, spiny orb weavers aren't the only pointy spiders in the spider world. In fact, while they're
They're
related
so
to many other
spiky.
spiny spiders, there are pointy spiders to which spiny orb weavers seem to have no relation. So, not every spiny spider is a spiny orb weaver, and their scientific classification may change with new information. As it currently stands, there are about 70 species in
Sheena's
the
busy.
spiny orb weaver genus. Spiny orb weavers are also known as star spiders, thorn spiders, jewel spiders,
spiders
and
'cause they're
crab spiders,
scary and
though
because
that last
they're
one
traumatized
isn't to be
with things
confused
like-
with true crab spiders.
You don't like spiders just
Spiny
because
orb
they're
weavers
scary,
are
not
found
because
worldwide
they
in tropical
traumatized
and
you
temperate areas,
with
and
stings
generally
like
prefer
bees
habitats
did.
with vegetation
They're
in
scary.
which they can construct their webs. As their common name
You're doing your break
suggests,
screen.
these spiders build orb-shaped webs, which can reach nearly 2 feet in diameter and hang up to 20 feet off the ground.
Spiders
They'll
are
catch
so
flies,
cool.
moths, beetles, and other insects in their sticky silk.
Making
Some
webs
spiny
is
orb
cool.
weavers may even create shared webs with conspecifics. This has both
Sheena.
pros and cons. On one hand, the spiders don't have to work as
There
hard at
those
creating their own
Hirula.
web,
Hi,
since they
Max.
can use parts
Have you
of the
seen
webs
one
of
in
their
person?
neighbors.
Are they
On the
scary?
other hand,
The
their
spiky
eggs will
kind?
also become more vulnerable to parasites, since they're grouped together and easier to access. Egg sacs can fall victim to flies and other spiders. Adult spiny orb weavers may be afforded some protection from predators due to their spiky protrusions, but they
Spiky.
are taken by wasps and other spiders. Jumping spiders are especially diabolical. In one report, a jumping spider tickled the outer edge of a spiny orb weaver's web to attract the spider into striking distance. It did not end well for the spiny orb weaver. While they aren't that large, averaging less than half an inch in length, spiny
they're
orb weavers are
tiny.
noticeable. They might look dangerous with those conspicuous spines. However, spiny orb weavers are harmless to humans. A bite from a spiny orb weaver may be mildly painful, and have a reaction local to the site of the bite, but they don't do much more than that. What's more, it's only the females that sport that large, spiky abdomen. Spiny orb weaver males are much smaller than females, which is pretty
this
common
one
for spiders
green,
in general.
or is it just
After mating,
highlighted?
the male doesn't live very long, and the female perishes after laying her eggs. The egg sac she creates can be just as splendid as she is, though. She'll typically attach it to the underside of a
Whoa,
leaf,
it looks
and
like
she'll
an
use
egg.
different colored thread, such as yellow and green, to make sure it sticks. There can be more than 200 eggs inside the sac, and it will typically take them 2 weeks to hatch, and then another 2 to 5 weeks before finding their own place in the world. Also, supposedly these spiders shouldn't exist. A study found that they have a 19-hour circadian rhythm, which is basically an animal's internal clock. Research has shown that animals with a natural circadian rhythm that doesn't match the typical 24-hour day cycle on Earth tend to have problems with the health of their offspring. But apparently spiny orb weavers don't care what science has to say, because they just keep doing their thing. Thank you to our patrons, SpikeSpiegel93, Dad,
cat.
and everyone else for their support of this channel. For more facts on spiny orb weavers, check out the links in the description. Give a thumbs
Do you
up if
feel
you
like
learned
you know
something new
enough about
today,
bugs now?
and thank you for watching
Yeah.
Animal
Oh,
Fact
hi.
Files.
Hi, Shmoo. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the bug stream. Deadly Creatures Wii. This is the one that Aster wanted me to watch. All bosses plus ending. Deadly Creatures review. We can watch the review to see if it's a good game. She knows your favorite bug. Can I put the Mario Kart
I don't know about
hat?
you, but I sometimes
Mario
find myself
hat
in the
on
fetal
bug on my
position,
head.
sucking my thumb and crying as I hear about
too
some of the
lazy
games
to
coming to
move.
Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, and meanwhile I'm left playing some of the flowery, wimpier games on Wii. Now, don't get me wrong either, because I will gladly stack any of Nintendo's flagship titles, your Galaxies, your Pikmins, against any game on any console. But at the same time, I occasionally want to sit down and play a game that I can't co-op
Grounded
with my little
stream.
sister, if I had a little sister.
I should play it soon.
Thankfully, developer Rainbow Studios has heard all my cries, apparently even through all
Viewers
that
so
thumbs
normal
up,
pill.
and has answered with Deadly Creatures, a game that's very novel, very fresh, and it's going to creep you out. That's because in this ambitious action-adventure, you won't find any guns or
Dark
giant
Souls
moves,
of playing
but
as
you will
a
discover
scorpion
venomous scorpion and a
games.
hair-raising tarantula, both of them playable.
Hair-raising. Oh,
It's a
you can
really
play as a
original,
tarantula
compelling concept,
too.
powered by high production values, and these are production values you're going to spot from the very beginning of the game.
High
THQ
production
contracted
value.
Hollywood A-listers Dennis Hopper and Billy Bob Thornton to voice the two human characters in the game, and as you can hear in this opening intro, they really do set the mood for the action to come.
I think it was
Should eat a bee. I eat a bee every day before stream.
The two actors also drive the storyline, which is told exclusively through beautiful in-game cinematics.
They're
And I
so
do have to say that I
beautiful.
really like the story that Rainbow's come up with. Not only is it a very interesting tale involving prospectors digging out in the desert and murder even,
Whoa.
but it's very dynamic. So as you're playing with the tarantula and the scorpion, you see these huge looming humans in the background, and the tale simply unfolds as they talk. But unfortunately, the humans are used primarily as story devices. Still, you will enjoy the tale all the way to the end, even if the final act
Souls,
feels a
Dark
bit
Souls, Souls isn't feet.
As you can no
I
doubt
love
see,
feet.
Rainbow's
Me
attention to detail
too.
carries over to the graphics of the game world itself. This is a
13
beautiful game on all
views.
fronts, and I'm talking artistically
Overselling it a
and
bit with this
technically.
game, this one.
It really pushes Nintendo's console.
It
The
looks
character
great.
models are insanely detailed for a Wii game, and just look at some of these silky smooth animations as the tarantula strafes around. Meanwhile, the levels are extremely varied in design, artistically rendered, and filled with geometry. Just take a look at some of these.
What does that
backgrounds.
mean? Filled with
And
geometry.
every bit of cinematic as some of the cutscenes are the Scorpion's finishers. Using the Wii Remote to make gestures,
Sorry.
you can inflict some serious damage onto enemies, and these moves are not for the squeamish.
Whoa.
Unfortunately, though, there are some presentational downsides. The detailed graphics occasionally arrive at the expense of the frame rate. There are hiccups now and again.
A game like this has bad frame rate.
The streaming nature of levels results in load times between areas, sometimes as long as 5 seconds, and that can really break the flow. The camera system, which is usually pretty good, occasionally catches on a wall and transforms what should be a simple enemy fight into a much more complex undertaking. And there are some disappointing bugs, and I'm not referring to those of the insect nature. For example, some enemies may clip through walls as you're fighting them, and you may have to wait for them to re-emerge before you can finish them off. You know what though? Even with these issues, the game is still
It
a whole
talks
lot
like
of fun
he's
to play.
he's what training
Controls are
a
tight and
language learning
responsive.
models.
You move
He
the
talks
characters
like
around
normal.
with the nunchuck's analog stick, and Rainbow has smartly mapped the primary attack function to the A button rather than waggle. As you
No
play, you'll
waggle.
quickly identify the control differences between the Scorpion and the Tarantula, the former of which is a tank, but he's slow. Meanwhile, the Tarantula is much quicker, but he can't block attacks. Secondary and more damaging moves like the Scorpion's tail spin, not to mention his cinematic finishers, are performed via waggle, and that usually feels pretty good. That said, I do prefer to play as the Tarantula, not only because he's quicker, but because his special moves are mapped to the Wii Remote pointer. You simply aim and shoot to sling between walls, or to send off a web shot at enemies and then pounce.
Pounce. I think he
There's
missed.
no doubt about it, you're
Would I
going to be
play
doing a
this?
lot of fighting with deadly creatures.
It
You'll
looks
face
like it'd
off
be
against
fun for like an
everything
hour.
from lizards to
I don't know.
wasps to rats and everything in between. But thankfully, there's also a very fun exploration mechanic. There's actually a bit of fun Metroidian design in place here because as you start the game, your characters have limited abilities, but as you progress, you make upgrades, which allow you access
Can I
to
play this
previously
game not on
unreachable
bug day,
areas.
but another day?
One major difference between this and Metroid Prime 3, though, is that
Game?
Prime's
No
world
one
is
can
fully
stop Mr.
connected,
Domino.
whereas in Deadly Creatures,
Maybe.
there are
Is
10
it on
different
Steam?
levels. It
You
takes
can
fewer
put in
than
the
10 hours to
suggestion
complete
channel
those
in the
levels,
Discord
and
and I'll
there's
look
no
at it
multiplayer
later.
component to speak of, but you can at least go back
Mr.
through the
Domino.
environments and
It's
collect
on PS1.
grubs for
Oh, it's
extra
an old
unlockables.
game.
With its ultra-stylized
Put
presentation,
in the
and fun gameplay
suggestions, you
mechanics,
know, look
Deadly
later.
Creatures is exactly the type of third-party effort that
snake
Nintendo fans
box.
need to be supporting. For our full written review, check out IGN.com.
Deadly Creatures. Wait, don't they give like a score at the end of these? No? No score? The guy seemed to really like it though. Score is 7 or 8 out of 10. It's IGN. What is that supposed to mean? The guy was talking like it was a 10 out of 10 game, or like 9 out of 10. 90%. 90%. Alright, I think that's enough for today. There's not a lot of bug stuff to look into next. I mean, I think we saw just about all the most interesting things. And I'm like weirdly sleepy. Worms. I don't think I saw any good videos about worms. You could be extract honey, eh? Good job with the buggery, thank you. I think what do you be extract honey? Oh, the video! I don't think I saved it. We can watch it for a few minutes. But I am sleepy. I woke up really early today and did chores, and it's like, I felt really good earlier, but now I'm like super sleepy and it sucks. I was up so early. 2 hours earlier. Yeah, I woke up when my alarm went off. Crazy. I don't normally do that. Yeah.
Well, guys,
The
here we go. Today is one of the days
scooper.
of the year that I get most excited about.
Score inflation means average is 7 out of 10. Score
It's time
inflation.
for the very first honey harvest of the year.
Like, because they want to make
If you recall,
developers
in the last video, we
happy.
came out here just to check to see
They
how
use the sleepy
honey production
gas.
was coming along, and I was very surprised and pleased to find out that it was really
He's so
coming
southern,
along
his
well.
accent.
So of course this top box right here is obviously nowhere near ready to extract, but if you can
Ready
see
to
down in those
extract.
cells just a little bit, you'll see all the shiny cells. That's nectar. So they're bringing back nectar. They're working on drying it down, and hopefully within the next month, maybe even sooner, who knows, this frame will be capped off and ready to go. Let's check the next box. And this is not the best day to be doing this, by the way, because we've got some storms rolling in later on. It's sunny right now, but storms are rolling in later, and bees get really, really finicky when the weather changes, especially when it's going to rain. I just remembered I forgot my little blower. I got to go back to the house. Now, it's still pretty early in the season. They've only been bringing back nectar now for maybe a month or so, so I don't expect to be able to extract a ton of honey. But what I would like to do
Can I do my most
is
southern
get
accent?
some out
Meowdy
so they won't get
partner.
overcrowded, so they'll have places
You
to
reckon
put
I
more
ought to go
nectar as it
back
comes
to
on
the
in.
cow
Plus, on
and
top of that, we're out of honey. So this is one of the frames that we actually pulled in the last
Oh, that
video.
doesn't look
You see
very
that upside down
appetizing.
rainbow pattern they've got going on right there. This is not an extractable frame. There's way too many cells of open nectar right here. That means the humidity level in those cells is just way too high to be honey, and it will probably spoil. You have to wait until, I think it's 80% capped or something like that. I like to do more
She no go
personally,
sleepy.
but maybe
Who
90%.
goes
I can't remember what the
baby?
number is.
Bean
That frame
blickies.
in this box is not ready to go. This is the next
Mealies.
frame down, and I would feel okay about extracting this one. This is foundationless. That's why you see all the big holes in here. I'd feel okay about extracting this, but I'm just going to leave this whole thing.
Why is
for
it so
bees
gray?
to, dry
Is that
down a little
normal?
bit more. We'll check the next box down as well, but my guess is we're going to run into a good bit of brood.
Rude.
Oh yeah. So we're getting down down into the brood chamber at this
Oh.
point. Lots and lots of brood there.
The baby
Actually, I'll
is.
try to get a close-up and show y'all what's really going on in this frame. So here's what's going on in this frame. Over there to the left of the screen, you've got capped honey. Then you've got nectar. You can see shiny down in those cells. And then you get into the brood right here.
The brood.
And you can especially see it right, here we go, right in that cell right there. You can see there's a little bit of shiny stuff down in there, and that's nectar. So what the bees are doing, as soon as a bee hatches out, the bees are backfilling the brood nest with nectar. And it's okay that they're doing that because they've got 4 boxes up under that box that they can still raise brood in.
Freaked
And
up
if they
the Jack
fill these
Black
top
one
3
from
boxes
Octagons
up
to
with honey, I'm
Minecraft
fine with that.
blocks.
But right now, this hive is nowhere near ready to extract.
Because they're actually cylinders and hexagon locally. Stacking is the most
This
efficient
one might
way.
be. This is a very tall
They're so
hive.
smart.
Same deal in
It's
here. Good
black.
bit of nectar, but nowhere near ready to extract. I don't have to take this one off. I can see that it's the same story in this one.
The bees.
Not quite, but that's a lot of honey.
Oh.
So this box is kind of the same story on every frame. They're on the verge of capping off all of these cells right here, but it would not work to extract.
The smoke is like bee drugs, I think. It's like making the bees sleepy so they don't attack. How do the drains causing Ireland note to be hexagons? The what now? Who? Crossway?
But not quite.
You can tell he really wants the honey.
Bingo.
And now he uses a leaf blower to blow the bees away. There's no way that's the best way to do this. Just blows them away with a leaf blower. The bees didn't even leave. They're still here.
Not quite in this box. Let's move to the next hive.
Oh. Okay. Bees. Hi, Salty Boy. Smoke just makes them more docile, reduces their defensive instincts. It's weed for bees. They get all sleepy. I love to use the leaf blower. I've never seen that before. Is he gonna eat that? It's the honeycomb. He is eating it. The fresh. He says it's good. And guys, the face mask but no gloves. I noticed that he's got like tight sleeves though. He's obviously not wanting a bee to crawl up his shirt, but I guess
These bees are a little bit irritable, and they've really kind of always been that way, and I'm not sure why. It's just the genetics, I think.
angry bees. Maybe he knows something like the bees will go for your face because they know it's your weak point.
This is a good box. We'll take it.
I'll take it.
I think this next box is going to be a winner, too.
Jersey, when are you going to play the hit
maybe
game
not.
Angry Bees and the Pucks?
Jersey.
I wouldn't have thought. They need some time. This next one is good.
Jersey.
I'll just take the whole box and pick
Jersey.
through it.
I've not seen Bee Movie. I do remember when there were a bunch of memes about
So
it
we're
though.
almost to the fun part.
Almost to the fun part. Sheena had to explain to you that they typed Jersey on purpose because it'd be funny.
So this is the next box down, and you can see here, well, I was
You
gonna
don't wear
say
gloves for the
it's
bees' safety.
brood,
Big
but
bulky gloves
we're
can
getting into a
crush
place
bees
that
even
used
if
to
you're
have
careful.
brood. Bees are doing
Well,
the
that
same
makes
thing
sense
here. You
too.
can see the shiny stuff down in the bottoms of those cells that are not capped.
Nectar.
That's honey, or nectar that will be honey. and they're just capping off where they're putting nectar in the cells as soon as they hatch out, which is fine. Now that's something that can become a problem if they have absolutely no more space anywhere whatsoever to do anything, but right now it's not a problem. We're about to go extract some honey and give them some more space to put more honey, and they'll be fine in the brood chamber.
The brood chamber. It's pretty cursed because a human woman is eating a bee. Yeah, I remember when it was really memed on. Gloves are for pussies.
Now I want to start off with this particular box.
He's
here.
probably
This
been
is,
stinged a bunch
this
of
is some
times.
the honey that came off of the, I think it was the second hive that we checked, maybe the third, probably the third hive that we checked. And I can say with a lot of confidence that this is this spring's honey. A lot of the honey that's in these hives is still left over from last year. Be much darker and a little bit stronger, but this right here is my favorite honey. It's very light. Let's just cut it open and look at it.
Cut open the honey. It's a
Actually,
goopy.
that's pretty dark. That probably is last year's.
To him, it's probably like love bites. The bee stings. Oh, did they spin it around to get it out? Centrifugal force. Bees. The goopy. Oh, it's so goopy. That must be really satisfying. They spin it. That's funny. That makes sense, but it's really funny. No, there's a bee in there. Save the bee. There's a bee in the honey.
What I'm going to do is kind of pick out the ones that have the most recent honey in them and separate those out into a different bucket, because I usually don't separate my honey, but I just love this light early spring honey so much. I just want to have at least some of it separate so that I can really enjoy the stuff that I like. Now this frame right here, it's really kind of borderline. If I had a whole bunch of frames like this, I wouldn't extract it.
Hurry up and spin me. Remember some post warning you that some brands of honey cheat by patting out sugar. Yeah. How would you feel if you got to live by some place for free, but sometimes the landlord takes your room and shakes until your stuff falls out? I'd be pretty annoyed because I got all this stuff. Can I say honey? Honey? Honey?
I wish y'all could smell it too. It's even got a different smell to it.
Honey. The bee in that one too, I see it. It's right there. How do you clean all this stuff? Honey's like super sticky. Honey. There was a bee in there! Does the bee add flavor? Honey. Honey. That's really dark. Honey. 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 The goop. This one's loaded.
This is most likely some of last year's honey, but check out that pattern in there. It's really, really cool seeing those. I don't even know what you would call it. It's not like very defined circles of comb on the top side there.
Hello, grab your rack. Who watched B movie? Not today, unfortunately. But hello, welcome. It's like peanut butter gum. It's so weird. Medical grade honey. What's that? Can Can I have the emote that is the entire B movie? Sure. Astra Funkmas can add it, or Sheena or something. Honey is so sticky. Oh, there's a big bee in there. The bees. Careful. Buzz, buzz. Don't fall in there, bee. There are bees stuck in it.
Now these are the wax cappings that we cut off of the frames to get the honey out. Now there is a lot of honey still left in these cappings and we got to get it out. So I've already crushed the cappings up to some degree and I'm going to dump them in this bucket.
Hi. Mr. Hand Tea Shop. Bee. Check for the bee in the
Now we're going to
bucket.
strain it through this queen excluder to get the big chunks out. And I keep having to move around in the yard because there's so many bees out here. I didn't expect to have this problem.
Spent a pour for a bee on the grate. No! Nice. The entire bee movie. This honey looks dirty, though. It's covered with like bee guts and stuff. So goopy.
Somebody in the comments section on one of my honey processing videos gave me the idea of using a queen excluder to strain this honey out like this, and I thought it was a really smart idea. I don't use these queen excluders for their intended purpose anyway, so it just kind of made sense.
We'll filter it more,
We're gonna get the scale out here
I
in
guess
just
so.
a minute and see how much honey that we got after that drains just a little bit longer, but I wanted to show y'all something that I think is pretty cool. Earlier on in the video, I mentioned that I was getting a lot of last year's honey off of these hives, and that may not make a lot of sense because this is this year, how are you getting last year's honey? But the reason that that's going on is because I left a lot of honey on the hives last year for them to consume over the winter. Honey is always a better food source for the bees than is sugar syrup or fondant cakes or dry sugar, or certainly a whole lot better than corn syrup. And my bees came out in winter very, very strong, and of course lots of honey combined with low mite loads.
Low
They've
mites.
just been going nuts this year. So this is
people
last
call
year's
corn
honey. See how much darker it is? They got this honey probably late spring or into the summertime.
Can you be sure
off
the
of
bees didn't
sources
trap
such
that bee
as
on
sumac
accident?
and lots of
On
other things that I'm
accident?
not sure what they might
Honey.
be, but sumac and stuff like that. This right here, and I wish it wasn't so bubbly. There's a lot of bubbles in it that doesn't really give you a good picture of how clear it really is. But this is crimson clover, probably some blackberry and other types of clover. We've got tons of crimson clover around here. So this is probably mostly clover honey. And this is my
Clover
favorite.
is the honey that I usually get at the store.
This is my favorite right here.
Though I can't really taste the difference between all the different kinds of honey.
Burns as it goes down. It's so sweet. This has got a much bolder and richer flavor to it, and much
So what's
fuller
the
flavor, I guess you could say.
bolder
It's very
one
good
called?
too. But that right there is the prize.
Can we cover
That is
Sheena on
why I
honey? Yeah.
separated it out
Can give
and
Sheena a
managed
little
to
bee
keep,
outfit too.
gallon,
Did I play
gallon and a half,
Xenoblade
something like that
Chronicles? No, I've
for
never
our
played
own personal
anything
use. So there's
in
the
that
difference
series.
right there. You can see the color of honey varies depending on the food source or the nectar source that the bees are working
That's
on.
pretty
All
neat.
right, so let's
I
see
knew
how
there
much
was different
honey we
types
got
of
here.
honey, but I
This
thought
is
it was
the
more
amount of
related to
cappings
like
I've
where
already
the
strained it
bees
out through the
were
queen excluder
located or
and
something,
through the fine filter, so
or
it's
the
ready to
species
go.
of bee.
We've got a 2-pound bucket and 12.26 pounds total.
10 pounds of honey.
So there was 10 pounds of honey in those cappings. Actually, there was more because I didn't get it all. This is the private stock, I guess you could say, the very light honey that I saved out for us. We've got 19 pounds.
He's got more honey for himself. What's he gonna do with it?
Maybe a pound and a half worth of bucket, something like that, maybe 2 pounds. So that's about
Scales
27
among
pounds
us.
total so far. Let's check on our big bucket. Now, I didn't weigh this bucket. I'm guessing maybe 4 to 5 pounds worth of bucket. Let's see what the total is.
Oh, this one's huge.
That's 50. So we'll just call that one 45 pounds to allow for the weight of the bucket.
Just gonna chug it down and pat his bloated belly. Honey burger.
That makes 60. Math on camera never works.
Math on camera never works. Oh.
I think I got done just in time here, so, well, y'all heard that. 72 pounds of honey, that was a really good haul. I won't be able to get those boxes back on the hives until tomorrow, which is fine. That's not going to affect anything. But yeah, I'm really happy with the 72-pound haul this early in the year. A lot of times I extract in June. I usually get a small harvest early, but usually my main harvest comes in like June or something like that. And what I'll do at this point is I'll put these boxes back on the hives and maybe just check them a couple of times a month until they're ready. I probably won't do another harvest until they're like totally and completely ready. But now I'm really happy. I feel better because the bees have somewhere to put honey.
Yay.
Once the bees run out of places to put honey, you run into trouble because they're going to swarm because they don't have any. They've got no room left. So this is going to give them a whole lot of extra
swarming bees.
To do what they need to do, and hopefully this will mitigate any.
Would I work as an apprentice honey harvester? I don't think that's a thing, is it?
Anyway,
Bees are pretty hands-off. It's not like you need to tend to them every day. They seem to find their own food and manage their colony all on their own. Bee mascot. I would love to keep some bees. That would be really fun, I think. Although I guess you'd need like a really big open like yard area. Probably wouldn't work if I kept bees on like my balcony in my apartment building. My neighbors probably wouldn't like that.
Yeah, but here's the bug shaker.
Give me the bug shaker, Brian. Yay! Hi, Brian. Welcome. Welcome. Hope you're having a cozy night. I was just about to wrap up the stream. I'm feeling a little sleepy today, and as it goes with these special streams, tend to last a little shorter than the normal ones. But I had fun. It's nice to see you, Brian. I had fun. We watched a whole bunch of bug videos. What the heck is this? Huh. Bug videos. Bugs. And I was looking at Final Fantasy Quest before. But yeah, we watched a bunch of bug videos. The meat bees. My favorite was probably the one with this one. This one was my favorite video, showing what happens in the caterpillar. What was it called? Metamorphosis. Okay, Yuku. The big question: which bug is most frickable? I don't know. Butterfly, mantis, bee. Readable bug. Very on topic. The bees have produced 20 tons of honey. All hands are needed for constant harvesting, and they ask to recruit. You do accept? No, I don't work well under stress. What about the bee girl from Darkstalkers? I've never heard of that. Should have watched some Tier Zoo. Does that channel do bugs? We mainly watch scientific bug videos. Does she have a cloaca? Maybe? My cat's here to call me, but yeah, we'll wrap up the stream for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for enjoying the bugs with me. Hello. Oh, hi, Star. What did we learn? We learned a lot of stuff, I think. Why is my history like this? Like, oh, I guess it's just like so squished the titles were cut off. But yeah, it's nice to see you, Star. Hope you're having a good night. Tearsy does buggies. I didn't really plan to watch videos, so I didn't really like look ahead of time, but it was fun. Here, listen to my cat. You're purring so loud, Luna. Meow. She's very cozy. Meow. Whoa. The deep purr is so weird. Happy cats. Electric is the most quiet. Oh no, we were watching this video, but I don't think it just seemed very on topic. Yeah, sleepy day, special stream. Didn't plan a bunch of activities for the stream, so typical that I'll be a little shorter, but I did have a lot of fun. I hope you did too. I will be live tomorrow at the normal time. We'll play some games, but on Sunday, wait, let me double check. On Sunday, we'll be doing Draw Pile again with the rest of the prompts that Star made for us like 2 months ago. So, if anyone wants to participate in the Draw Pile, it'll be on that magma website that we did the first one on. Yeah, hopefully, we'll try a smaller canvas size to see if that helps with the lag that people are having. So, yeah. Thank y'all for hanging out. I'm so sleepy. I guess this is what happens when I wake up early. I'll send you off somewhere. Streaming. Streaming. Sorry that you have to become an American. Yeah, she owns vacation soon. Who am I reading? Let's. Ooh, oh my gosh. Let's read, let's read. Do I want to read this person or this person? Let's read Toyo. We haven't rated Toyo in a little bit, and they're playing an interesting looking game. Shady part of me. Go show lots of love to Toyo. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a cozy, comfy good night. And I love you all. Love you all. Thank you for joining. Yay. I'll send you